YouTube. For everybody tuning in on the YouTube stream, it's so good to have you in here with me today. We're going to go ahead and hop straight into the debates. We already have our first Trump supporter on the line. So this Trump supporter just made the claim that the only reason Kamala Harris was picked as a candidate to run against Trump was because she was black. But then he went on to claim that she's not even black, she's Indian. So that's how you feel, right? Just for everybody tuning in on the YouTube stream.
Correct. I believe that's actually under her ethnicity.
Great. So we're going to go ahead and touch on the second point before we touch on the first point. First, you said that her race is Indian. I want to clarify, is your race American?
No.
No, because that's not a race. It's a nationality. So Indians,
I am Caucasian.
So Indian's not a race either. That's also nationality. What you mean to say is South Asian, okay? So let me ask you another question, because you're right. She is South Asian, but that doesn't imply that she's not therefore black. Very simple question, sir. How many parents do you have?
2.
You have 2 parents, okay? And another question, sir. You take your genetics and facts of yourself and your phenotypical traits from how many of your 2 parents? Do you just get them from one of them or both of them?
Both, of course.
From both of them, okay. So in other words, if Kamala Harris has a mother that's South Asian and a father that's Afro-Jamaican or black, this makes her what?
Make her black? She would be black at some point.
That makes her black and South Asian.
But hold on. I don't think it just comes from being black. I think it also learns from coming from the culture and the cultural background and coming from understanding the historical times and the history behind.
I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify real quick. I have an 18-year-old white boy in my life trying to educate me about black culture in America.
I'm not educating you. I'm just saying that I think that's the understanding of where I'm coming from, is that it's not about her race. It's about the cultural things that she understands.
No, I want to clarify. You did say that she wasn't black.
Correct. Well, she's not 100%, isn't she?
Okay. So do you think that like all biracial individuals aren't black? Like, do you think that if you're biracial in the sense that you have like a black father or a black mother, but then like your other parent, the father or the mother that isn't black, that makes you not black yourself? Like you don't like assume people to be biracial. You don't think that biracial individuals exist? What's your claim? Like, I don't think that anybody's ever claimed that. One second, let me rephrase myself. No. I'm gonna go ahead and rephrase myself. Nobody's ever claimed that Kamala Harris is 100% black because Kamala Harris is biracial. She is both black and South Asian simultaneously, okay? But although she's biracial, she is still black.
I think I made a mistake on what I said. I don't think it's just because you're black. I think it's because she doesn't understand the cultural background of being a black person. I don't think she's actually understands anything about it. Okay,
Mr. White Boy, go ahead and tell me why. Go ahead and tell me why, Mr. White Boy.
Well, she comes from a good, rich family background.
Oh, so you're basically saying if you're black, with a family with some money, you're no longer black.
You're pissed. You're going live. I'm trolling. Anyways, you lost the election. You're pissed, so you're going live.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, so the Mr. White Boy over here, he basically thinks that poor people are black, and if you're not poor, then you're not black. Is that how you feel?
I'm trolling. I don't actually feel this way. I'm just on here to get you angry and trying to get you live on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Yeah, I'm famous now. Anyways.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest because he straight up couldn't take the heat, so then he just says that he's trolling. And I mean, the only thing you'll be famous for is the 3 cells in the brain you possess. I feel like I had to find a very kind way to word that because I don't want to get the live taken down. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. If you're MAGA, go and let me know in that chat. If you're one of the 9.5 thousand people watching on TikTok and the stream gets taken down, head over to the YouTube. I mean, we've had a couple crazy guests, so I think it's quite possible that the live does get taken down, you guys. So just head over to YouTube if that happens. We're going to go to get that next guest up in the box right now. Go ahead and spam MAGA down below in that chat if you do want to join. Everyone just going to give us one moment, but I seriously just doing a stress. I think it's possible the live's going to get taken down, so, head over to YouTube if that happens. You'll know that the lives get taken down because it'll just get, randomly disconnected. Here we go. Go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get that next guest up here. If you're one of the 9.6 thousand people listening, go ahead and start double tapping away on that phone screen for me while we do work on getting the next guest up here. We sent an invitation to MAGA Amy, 95. We sent an invitation to BOL. Jazzy, we got everyone loading in. What is up, BOL? Do you support Trump?
Yep.
Okay, how old are you?
30 years old.
30 years. Okay, what year were you born? Born in?
1995.
In 95, so you're 30 years old.
Oh, I mute.
Jazzy, do you
hi.
support Trump?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm 19, by the way. April 10th, 2005.
Great. So before we hop into a discussion, I'm going to go and real quick thank Ryan for the $10 super chat over on YouTube saying, hell yeah, brother. Everybody please show some love to Ryan. And then Carmen with the $10 as well. Thank you, Carmen and Ryan. You guys are phenomenal. And then Sid with the $30 donation over on Venmo. That is SYD. Thank you for the love, Sid. Thank you for the love, Sid. Ryan and Carmen, you guys are phenomenal. Now, Jazzy and BOL, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Okay, so... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say that I don't fully support him because he's not a good person. And as a black woman, I like some of the stuff that he's done, I definitely don't agree with. But
do you think that he's a better president than Kamala Harris would have been?
I think that some parts, yes.
Overall, like,
for like the most part, yeah.
Did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, I did.
And do you regret your vote?
I don't.
Okay, so yeah, let's start there. Why do you support the president? Why did you vote for Trump?
Okay, so I support...
And she left? She just left. I think that people will leave her live a lot, like intentionally. I think it's very possible that was actually unintentional. I'm actually going to say that. I like, she was in the middle of a sentence. She was in the middle of literally saying, I support, and then we heard like the phone mic go down, like her phone probably slipped and she probably somehow accidentally left. What's up, Alana? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
19. What year were you born in?
2005.
2005. What month is your birthday?
October.
October. Okay. All right. You're 19. Go ahead and tell us why you support Trump.
I want to buy a house.
Want to know something crazy? Kamala Harris was the only candidate in the race with housing affordability policy, and Donald Trump was the only candidate in the race with make houses more expensive policy. Do you need me to explain out? Because I can. You know, why don't I do it? So Donald Trump's tariffs on the entire fucking planet makes new houses more expensive. We get drywall from Mexico. We get steel from Mexico. We get lumber from Canada. We get rocks from all around the world. I mean, the raw materials that we use to build houses is sourced from other countries all of the time. Okay, and we're either going to be paying more for those raw materials or paying more to produce them in America. So the price of new houses goes up and the amount of new houses getting built goes down. Kamala Harris, though, she ran on housing affordability policy that would have given you a $25,000 grant, essentially, to go out and buy a new house. And that would have incentivized more people to go out and get more houses for cheaper, while also incentivizing more builders to get out there and build, so it would increase the supply in the long term. I think that you made the wrong decision in accordance with your desire of buying a house.
That's the only reason I voted for Trump. That'd be dumb if that was my only reason.
So you have more reasons. Take it away.
I do. I like his policies on border control.
Really? Do you think that he's going to reduce undocumented entry into America in a sustainable long-term manner?
I don't know about sustainable, but...
Do you think he's just going to, he has good, effective policy that will work in the long term for reducing undocumented entry into our country?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is his good, sustainable immigration policy that will work in the long term to reduce undocumented entry into our country?
I don't fully know all of his policies. Sorry, I'm in college. I don't research everything in the world. But...
Well, I did these debates out of my dorm room for a year and a half, so...
yeah.
But at the same time, I do get it. So why do you think he has policy that's good for reducing undocumented migration into America in the long term if you can't really name any policy that's good for reducing undocumented migration into America in the long term?
Because of when he was president before.
What's a policy he implemented during his first term to reduce undocumented entry into America in the long term? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you think that we had this open border crisis under Biden and Harris, even though Donald Trump supposedly implemented the bad policy right before they went into office. So seemingly he didn't do much.
Maybe.
So what did he do during his first term for the border that you were a fan of?
Building the wall. I know that's kind of a meme, but that's personally, yeah,
Okay. 2 unfortunate facts. Are you ready?
sure.
He built less than 3% of that wall. Biden and
Almost
Harris, they pushed for the bipartisan border bill, which is where Democrats and Republicans kind of came together and got their needs addressed and put into a bill to solve some issues at the southern border. And it actually included more funding to build more of that same Trump wall under their administration than Trump built under his first term. And Trump told Republicans to vote against it. So in other words, he barely built any wall under his admin, and then he prevented Biden and Harris from building more.
Didn't Trump just sign a protection against invasion in January of 22nd?
So he declared that we're in like a national state of emergency, and then opted to attempt to enact the Alien Enemies Act so he could deport undocumented migrants without any due process. But I mean, that's a bad thing Trump has done, and it's also a pivot. And I don't understand how this relates to your claim that he's good for immigration because he built wall under his first admin.
I was just questioning it because I just didn't know that much about it. I just heard about it. That was it.
Okay. All right. Well, so far you've given us 2 reasons: border wall and houses. I actually want to go back to the first reason and just ask you, why did you vote for Trump for lower price houses?
Because he supports, because from what I've seen is a lot of people bought a lot more houses that were younger. For example, I'm younger and I'd love to buy a house sooner than when I'm 40.
So you're just saying that you think he supports the housing market and he's good for it. But why do you think that? Why do you think he's good for the housing market?
Blue collar workers are buying more houses, which is good.
You're claiming that more people are buying houses now? The whole
No.
issue is a shortage in houses.
Okay. I know you don't want to talk about that, probably. I also like, I'm going to say another view, I guess.
That's fine.
I like his views on abortion
Okay. Why?
because I personally don't believe in it.
Okay. Why do you think abortion's wrong? Tell us every reason why you think that elective abortions are immoral.
Personally, I think if you're going, so for certain cases like assault, yes, abortions are okay. But
That's why I
for
classified
reasons,
elective lethal abortions. An elective abortion is just like when a woman and a man engage in intercourse with consent of age, and the mother's life is not on the line. It's not with like a sibling or anything. If you're catching my drift, I just can't say that word on TikTok. And
Yeah.
then the woman gets pregnant and then just wants to get an abortion. So that's what an elective abortion is in a nutshell, in a really easy to describe manner. Why do you think that elective lethal abortions prior to 20 weeks are immoral?
because it's a child and it should have rights to.
Okay, so why
And
should
if
we?
you're going to do the,
So why
if
should
you're
we
going
give
to
the
have
fetus?
sex, you,
You know, go ahead. I'm
you should.
interrupting you. That's rude.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
Sorry,
I'm
sorry,
interrupting
sorry.
you. I'm interrupting you. Please finish.
Okay. If you're going to have sex, you're personally, you're practicing to have a kid, kind of. That's basically what it is. And I think that you should not kill a kid because it's not their fault. You're the one that decided to have sex.
Okay, great. Why should we give rights to a fetus?
It's a baby. It didn't do anything wrong.
Okay,
It
let's
just
call it
did
a baby.
its,
I'm fine with that. Why should we give the baby rights? Because you
because
said
it
because it
doesn't
didn't do anything
deserve
wrong
to
because it's
die.
innocent?
Yeah, it doesn't deserve to die. It
Okay,
just,
so we should just give innocent life forms the right to live?
I didn't say that. I just said babies. Human babies. Not,
Innocent human babies deserve the right to live because they're innocent human babies. That's a circular argument.
it's an innocent human being.
Okay, so you just think it's wrong to unalive innocent human beings. Now we're
Yes.
cooking with oil or butter, which has a very low smoke point, which gives you a very bad sear on a good steak. But we're still cooking. All right, you're getting somewhere. Let me ask you a question here. Do you think that doctors that pull the plug on brain dead patients in the hospital are doing something very immoral and that they have committed murder because that brain dead patient is an innocent human life and you think it's wrong to end innocent human lives?
No, because
No. Well, now we have a contradiction. We're no longer cooking at all. The stove's off. I want to see if you could work your way out of this because you did just tell us that unaliving a fetus is wrong because it's an innocent human life. That's your principle. It's wrong to unalive innocent human life. But then you tell me that it's not wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead patient. They're human. They're alive. Assuming they're innocent. That's a contradiction within your position.
can I speak? right
Yes, you can.
now? Okay, thank you. Personally, I think that a brain dead patient, their family probably makes that decision, not just the doctor.
What about a fetus?
A fetus is different
And why is that?
because it's not a fetus didn't live its life yet.
Oh, okay. So what if we had a brain dead newborn? They certainly didn't live their life. Would a doctor be a murderer for pulling the plug on them?
It's if their parents decide it.
There we go. So just because you haven't lived any life prior, it doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead newborn. But I'd also like to clarify here, if you're telling us that the brain dead patient is less valuable than the fetus because the brain dead patient has lived longer than the fetus, you're essentially suggesting that the longer you live, the less valuable you are. So let me ask you a question about this position. There's a mother giving birth in the operating room, and the doctor informs the mother that if she goes through the birth, she will die, but the baby will live. Should she be obligated to give her life for the life of the newborn because it is the case that her life is less valuable than the life of the newborn as she has lived longer than the newborn? And she left. So we're going to go to move on to the next guest. If you're one of the 10.3 thousand people in the TikTok stream, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen for me. We have an army of people in here today. That is phenomenal. It's so cool to see each and every single one of you guys. Please, 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 please keep in mind that if the stream gets banned because TikTok loves to take us down, to head over to my YouTube account, link in bio, where I will be live and we can figure out where I'm headed next. Now, welcome in, Mr. E30 Adam. Do you support the president?
To first off with that, yeah, I'd like to mention I'm 22, born 2nd of February 2003.
Hey, what time is it, Mr. Adam?
Midnight 56. I'm in the UK.
All right. Well, we are only looking to have debates with individuals that are from America, so we should go and repeat the rules here because I get it. There's a bunch of new people in this stream now. We are only looking to debate Americans that support the president, that voted for him, that over the age of 18. So if you're in that queue, make sure that you are from America, you're at least 18 years old, and you do support the president. Go ahead and spam MAGA for me down below in that chat if you do want to come up and debate, and we will get you up here for a conversation. We're currently just looking for the next guest. What is up, Mr. Kevin? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. How old are you, Kevin? You sound young.
I'm 19.
19. What year were you born in?
2005.
2005. Perfect. What month?
December.
Checks out. Perfect. Question. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Okay. If you're driving on a road and you see a solid yellow line next to a dotted yellow line, and the dotted yellow line is on your side of the road, what does that mean?
You can pass over.
What about the people on the other lane?
The other lane with the solid?
With the solid, yes.
Yeah, they can't pass over.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and accept that you're 19. Before we get into our discussion, I have 3 people to thank. James, thank you for the $5 on YouTube Super Chat. Skippy with a 5, Sarah with a 5, and then Carmen with another 10. Thank you so much for the love, Carmen. Everybody, please show some love to our donors. Alongside Kennedy, thank you for the $35 donation on Venmo. Thank you, Kennedy. 350 Kennedy W's in that chat. Matt with the $10 on Venmo for being hot and cracked. Thank you for the love, Matt. And then Parker with the $15 on Venmo saying sick shirt. Quite frankly, thank you. Iron Maiden is what's up, quite frankly. And then Gayla, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo because you're wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. I guess it's popular. You guys are all phenomenal. Thank you everyone so much for the love. If you're watching and you'd like to support me, support the stream, you can support me through the link tree in my bio where you can find my PayPal and my Venmo. And also Aram, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. But go ahead and take it away and tell us why you support Mr. Liberation Day, Donald J. Trump. Take it away.
I just think this is border, well, not so much policy. I think he's going to allow the Border Patrol agents to do their job better. We had multiple Border Patrol agents that claimed that, or that said that if Harris would have won, they would have quit their jobs. Also,
What
him
is
not
that? What does that mean? I'm so sorry. Like, we do understand that the average American is very politically uninformed, susceptible to propaganda, with like these huge machines of the DNC and the RNC pushing it. All right, the right more than the left. That's obvious. So I wouldn't really say because a couple like border security agents would quit their job if Kamala Harris won, that means that Donald Trump is better for immigration. I'd actually argue that Kamala Harris was significantly better for immigration than him.
I would disagree. I think that the Biden-Harris campaign or the administration, I think they left the border open intentionally.
So they left the border open. So that means that Donald Trump opened the border with his policy under his first term, and then they just left it.
No.
Okay, so that means that they opened it.
Yeah, he was trying to build the wall, and it didn't. I mean, look, it didn't go that well.
So how did they open it? How did the Biden-Harris administration open the border? Because Donald Trump closed it, and then they
by not allowing the border patrol agents to do their job.
Okay, what did they not allow them to do that they were allowed to do under Trump? Because right now that sounds like speculative like propaganda that means nothing.
Enforce rules.
Enforce rules. Okay, what did the Biden-Harris administration do to prevent border patrol from enforcing rules?
They didn't arrest anybody at the border, or very little amount of people were arrested at the border.
Okay, so they instructed border patrol to stop arrests.
Well, not necessarily. I think.
So then, what did they do to prevent them from doing their job?
They were too soft on the border.
They were too soft on the border, so that means they didn't do enough.
Yeah, the Biden-Harris didn't do enough.
Okay,
I think
okay. So then Donald Trump opened the border, and then they didn't do anything to close it.
Donald Trump opened the border.
Because that's a fallout of your claim. Like, if your position here is that the Biden-Harris administration was just complacent with the state of the border under their administration, and they did nothing about it, and they just kind of sat back and let what happened happen, that means that the border was under the operation and control of the president and policy set forth by the Trump administration before their term. All right? So this means that Donald Trump's policy opened the border, and then they didn't do enough to close it. On the inverse, all right, you'd have to make the claim that Trump was good for the border. His policy was stern, straight, and great. But then Biden and Harris came in, and they actively eroded the foundation set by the Donald Trump administration through policy or executive orders. So which one is it? Did they just sit back and let the border remain open, which was a precedent set forth by Trump? Or did they actively interfere with the policy and strike down what Donald Trump did to open it themselves?
Yeah, that's what you just said.
Okay, then what did they do? What actions did they partake in that opened the border? Can you name the executive order they passed that opened the border? Can you name the policy through Congress that they passed that opened the border? Can you name the policy that they repealed of Trump's that opened the border? What did they do? What action did they engage in that opened the border?
Not allowing the border patrol agents to do their job.
You already made that claim, and I asked you to give me evidence, and you couldn't.
Again, just not enforcing enough rules. I think it's mainly the
great.
personnel.
So wait. Now you're contradicting yourself because you just told me that they didn't just sit back and do nothing; that they actively eroded the foundation set by Trump's administration, which means
they did. No, but that Trump hired better candidates for the job, like the what's his name, Tom Holland or Tom?
Tom Holland? He didn't hire.
I don't know what his name is. The bald guy.
Tom Homan.
Yeah, him. Yeah, I think he's good. He's doing a really good job at the border.
So what has Tom Homan done for the border that you think is a good job?
Well, it's not just at the border. He's supporting a lot of
mass deportation.
Yeah, the mass deportations and cities.
I think that mass deportation places America last.
You don't support mass deportations?
I think it's an incredibly anti-American policy.
Well, if they're in our country illegally, don't you think they should be deported?
I don't. I think doing so is very anti-American. I could tell you why.
Why?
It's because it cripples American manufacturing by removing forcefully millions of people from our labor force. It slows GDP growth. It reduces the size of the American economy, and it cuts federal revenue that our government should be using to make our lives better. on top of all the humanitarian concerns. The fact of the matter is that it places America last by eroding and destroying our economy, our manufacturing, our labor force, and government revenue and GDP growth. The better solution is to offer every single undocumented migrant in America that has not committed a violent crime an expedited pathway to residency or citizenship so they can continue to be productive providers into the American economy, continue to contribute to your manufacturing sector, continue to contribute to GDP growth, and continue to pay over $100 billion in taxes per year. That is the American solution to the issue of undocumented migration into America today.
So you don't think it should be a priority for us to make sure that people who don't respect our laws are deported? You don't think they should be deported? People who come here illegally? I don't understand.
Well, so it's
Because
definitely
we don't
not
really
a
know who
priority
these
to
people
you.
are. We don't know who these people are. Some of them, like, I mean, look, I'm not saying there are some good people who are coming into our country just trying to look for work, but there's a lot of people out there who are just criminals, and we don't know who they are, and they should be deported.
Okay, so criminals should be sent out of the country?
Illegal.
So then why do you support a criminal to run the country? Donald Trump, the 34-count felon that was also held civilly liable for the violent rape and sexual abuse of E. Jean Carroll.
Well, I think that whole case was just to tear him down. I mean,
Oh, so the criminal
did he
justice
break
system's
some laws?
unreliable?
He might have.
Wait. So
What?
if it was fraudulent, it was fake, it was warfare. Sorry. So you think that the criminal justice system is unreliable?
Well, in this, yes, in not
Okay,
always.
well, if the criminal justice system is unreliable, well, then how do you know that any undocumented migrant is guilty of any crime? Because your proof that they're guilty of a
Well-
crime, which is the criminal justice system, is apparently unreliable.
It's not okay. In Trump's specific case, that whole prosecution was totally overboard. I mean,
Of course, you special pleaded Trump. That's why a lot of people on the left call MAGA a cult. But tell us why.
because they were trying. I mean, they spent like
Katie, thank you
all
for the
that
galaxy.
time and all that money on trying to prosecute him when they should have been, maybe focusing on maybe getting a better candidate.
So you're telling me that it was unreliable because prosecutors
It actually
spent time
hurt the Democrats. It
prosecuting.
hurt the Democrats.
I just want to clarify that you think that the proceedings were unreliable because prosecutors were focused on prosecuting.
Well, it was a waste. It was a big waste of time and a waste of money because, sure, he got convicted, but he was.
If it's a waste of time and money to hold the goddamn president of our country accountable, then it's certainly a waste of time and a waste of money.
Well,
to
because
try
they
to hold
knew
any
that-
undocumented migrants accountable.
Because even if he
Because I
got
do want to
convicted-
understand. I just want to clarify that you understand what you're saying right now. You're saying that we shouldn't hold people in positions of power accountable. It was a complete, total, and utter waste to make sure that the rapist was held accountable for his grape. It was a complete, total, and utter waste to hold the 34-count felon accountable for the felonies he committed.
Well,
you
yeah, because
are
they-
one moment.
Okay.
You are actively advocating for a society in which gives a blind eye to the most powerful people presiding within it. That is a tenet of fascism. That is a tenet of authoritarianism. That is propaganda that is pushed by you and many other people that agree with you in the MAGA movement to allow Donald Trump more mobility in our government to bypass checks and balances while being not held accountable to any degree whatsoever by the people. You are fundamentally operating off of values that are separate and distinct from any values in which I deem as American and which shouldn't be deemed as American by any patriot of this country.
Okay. Well, I think that he got convicted, but that actually hurt because they were trying to deter votes. They were trying to make people not vote for him by convicting him of all these crimes. But at the end of the day, they knew that he was still going to be allowed to run for president. So I think it actually backfired because they were trying to get people not
Well,
to
now
vote
you're
for
now
him.
you're making a completely separate point. I merely asked you if you think that he's guilty of the crimes that he was convicted of.
Some of the crimes, yeah, he was probably. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, so you do think that you voted for a rapist?
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, I voted for him. I mean, I
Okay,
heard
so
about the
if the-
case. I mean, I would, I mean, I don't think it's. I mean,
so
I know
don't you find it
I know
hypocritical?
he was found liable, but
So
I
don't you
mean,
find it
we don't know
hypocrite-
exactly what happened.
Don't you find it hypocritical to say that if a rapist is trying to come into this country, they should be denied entry, but if a rapist is trying to come into the White House, they should be given a red carpet? Because I find that incredibly hypocritical.
I mean, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, I voted for him, and I knew that, I mean,
Wait,
I mean, you
want
could
you to
say that for
respond.
any-
I
you
want
could
you to
say that-
respond to the hypocrisy.
I think there might have been, maybe the whole. I mean, he was found liable, but I feel like it was sort of. I feel like the whole story wasn't being told.
Oh, so
Like, I feel like he could. He could be guilty, but I mean, we don't know exactly what happened between him and I forgot who it was.
for sure. Let me ask you a question. Are you Christian?
No, or actually, no,
No. Do you hold to any religious beliefs?
no.
No. So you're atheist.
I would say I'm agnostic.
You're agnostic. Okay, phenomenal. So that point won't play out. But I just want to clarify. So you're telling me that the jury got it wrong and we don't really know if he's guilty. Can you name one piece of evidence that the accuser, E. Jean Carroll, submitted to the civil court that led them to the unanimous ruling that Donald Trump was guilty of raping her?
I do not know the details of. I don't really know the exact details of the case now.
Okay, so you're saying because you don't know the details of the case, you don't know he's guilty.
True.
Is O.J. Simpson guilty?
Yeah, he probably killed. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Name one detail of the case, piece of evidence, that was used in his civil court to hold him liable.
But wasn't he found not guilty?
He was found guilty in a civil court. So you agree with that civil court. You think he is guilty. So name one piece of evidence that the prosecutors submitted to the jury in his case to hold him liable.
I mean,
You don't know. So let me get this
I
straight.
don't know. I mean, I just
let me get
remember
this
that he
straight.
was trying on the
Don,
glove.
so
and
let me get this straight. So O.J. Simpson is guilty because he was held civilly liable in a court of law in America, even though you don't know one piece of evidence that was used to hold him liable. But then Donald Trump is innocent, or maybe you just don't know enough to believe he's guilty because you can't name one piece of evidence that the prosecuting team submitted to the court, to the jury, to hold him liable. Once again, yet another example of very clear hypocrisy.
All right, that's fine. Can I say another reason why I voted for Trump?
For sure. Do you mind if I thank a couple individuals for their donations first?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Awesome. Yo, DAG, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Saying I'm so sad I didn't get to make it to the hands-off protest. I was busy working. How was it? I'm from GJ, and we met at CMU. Dude, it was huge. It was awesome. I'm so happy that I was there and that I had the availability to speak. Everybody, please show some love to DAG in that comment section. As well as Mark with the $20 over on PayPal saying, keep the truth bombs coming. They'll never stop, Mark. Thank you for the $20. 200 Mark W's. That is MARC. And then also Taylor with the $20 donation over on PayPal as well. Huge shout out to Taylor down below in that chat right now. And then Holly with the $50 donation on PayPal. Base, dude. 500 W Hollies. That is HOLLI. That is so much money. I do not deserve that. Thank you so much for the love. And then Shayla with the $15 on PayPal. W Shayla. And then Kana with the $10. KANNA. Thank you, Kana. And then Matt with the $5 on Venmo. Alyssa with the $25 on Venmo. 250 W's for Alyssa. And then Alejandra with the $20. Hannah with the $20 as well. Thank you, Hannah, Alejandra, Alyssa, Matt, And thank you, Shayla, Mark, Taylor, Holly, and Kana, and DAG. You guys are phenomenal. Show some love to our donors. You guys are awesome sauce. Then also, Step, thank you so much for the galaxy. But go ahead and take us away. You said that you have another reason why you support the president. Mike is yours, man. We're all listening in.
Yeah, so another reason why I vote for Trump is, the Biden-Harris administration was giving way too much money to Ukraine and the aid in that war.
Oh, geez. You know that's Russian propaganda?
How?
Oh,
They were giving
literally Russian propaganda. So last month, we got leaked Kremlin documents that detailed a plan to convince the American public that the Biden-Harris administration was funding Ukraine way too much. They actually inserted themselves into American podcasters, American influencers, American news sources, and paid them money to report that. Isn't that crazy? But that aside, Katie, thank you so much for the motorcycle. Let me just ask for clarification here. Do you support any funding for Ukraine, or should we revoke all support?
We should revoke all support.
Okay, why?
Well, I think that, we should be not spending so much money on a different country.
Okay.
We should have been trying to resolve the war. We should have been trying to resolve the war instead of giving them so much money to try to fight Russia, which, they pretty much knew that Ukraine was really not going to win this war. And I know maybe CNN.
I have a question. Do you support Donald Trump in the entirety of MAGA, as well as the Trump administration, and their ongoing effort to support Israel?
Yes.
So this is the third very clear description of hypocrisy, because you're telling me when a country like Ukraine is being ethnically cleansed, America comes first. We should not be sending any money to other countries. Haley, thank you so much for the Leon the Kid. That's so kind of you. W's for Haley in the chat. Even though they're being ethnically cleansed, even though they're being invaded, even though they're attempting to be annexed and killed and pushed aside, we should be refocusing to America, not helping other countries out whatsoever. But when it comes to Israel, it's a completely other story, even though they're currently trying to annex land of Palestinians. They're currently ethnically cleansing Palestinians. They're currently killing Palestinians.
Okay, well,
yet another very clear example of hypocrisy.
Okay, well, that's Palestine. Okay, do you support Hamas?
No, I do not support Hamas. I support humanity, and that's why I'm pro-Palestinian. But right now, you're refocusing the conversation on a separate topic. I would first like you to respond to the hypocrisy of saying that you do not support funding Ukraine because we should only be spending our money on Americans, but you do support Israel, even though Israel is not America.
Well, I think Ukraine, specifically the leader, Zelensky, he's not a good guy, and I know you could say, oh, well, what about Putin? But
oh my God! Wait, the ICJ, the International Criminal Justice Courts, do they have an arrest warrant out for Zelensky?
Probably not.
Do they have an arrest warrant out for Netanyahu?
I don't know.
Yes. So you're telling me that we shouldn't be giving funding to Zelensky because he's not a good guy, but then we should be giving funding to Netanyahu even though he is not a good guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay, so that is called a contradiction. I mean, just like that is a pure, blatant, obvious contradiction.
Well, I think that specifically in the Ukraine, I think obviously the Biden-Harris administration knew how much destruction was going to happen with the war. And I think, maybe when they donated, I don't know when their first payment to Ukraine was, but I think after that, they should have just tried to make a stop to this war by
not supporting Ukraine will lead to more destruction, more death, more cleansing, more annexation.
not supporting Ukraine.
Absolutely. Because right now, Putin and Russia, they're on a war path to no end to rebuild the USSR. Okay. And when we take this isolationist approach to leaving them alone, leaving them to their devices to do what they want to the countries around them, well, they'll just keep getting the land they want, killing the people that are necessary to be killed to get the land they want, then stepping back, reloading, and then hitting again. So in 2014, do you know what happened?
No.
Russia annexed Crimea, a region of Ukraine. What was the Obama-Biden administration's response to this?
I couldn't tell you.
Nothing. They ignored it. Okay. And then what did Russia do? They stepped back. They rebuilt their military. They locked and reloaded. And then the moment they had an opportunity, they struck the rest of Ukraine. Interventionism right now is required. We need to be holding a red line against the country of Ukraine, against the country of Russia. They are violating human rights. They are trying to steal land that isn't theirs. And it is especially required for Ukraine because we signed an agreement with them called the Budapest Memorandum in the 90s, stating we'd help them and defend them if they were invaded by Russia. By defending Ukraine today, not only are we defending humanity, but we're also honoring a contractual agreement we signed with the country in the 90s.
I just feel like we're escalating the war too much, and whenever this war started, I think it was early 2022.
Escalating by helping the victim?
Yeah, I think by 2023 or
what? Wait, I just gave you an argument that indicate that not supporting Ukraine leads to more escalation because then Russia's more emboldened to steal more land.
I think that giving Ukraine more money is going to be more destructive because
destructive to whom?
I think that
destructive to whom?
Destructive to the killing of many people.
They
could have done a better job.
To who specifically? To who specifically is it more destructive to?
Just people like the soldiers dying.
To Russia. It's more destructive to Russia. It is more destructive to Russia.
Well, I feel like the Biden administration should have done more to try to.
Would you agree that it's not? Would you agree that it's not more destructive to Ukraine? It's more destructive to Russia.
Okay, well, I think Russia has more powerful weapons.
I want a yes or no. I want a yes or no. Funding Ukraine is not more destructive to Ukraine. It's more destructive to Russia.
Funding Ukraine is more... Well, by funding Ukraine, that would be...
I'm asking you to affirm or deny the next sentence. Funding Ukraine is not more destructive to Ukraine. It's more destructive to Russia.
Funding Ukraine... No, that's more destructive to Ukraine.
How?
Because Russia has better weapons and they're going to destroy more Ukrainian cities.
So wait. No, they destroy more Ukrainian cities. They'd ethnically cleanse more Ukrainians if Ukraine didn't have more funding, more weapons themselves. This is like saying that sending your child through a self-defense course in middle school will make it more destructive for your child if he were to be aggressed by a bully in school.
Well, I just think the Biden administration they didn't do enough.
Do you think that we? I just want to clarify. Do you think that we should ban? Do you think that we should ban all permits for like concealed carry permit, since that allows individuals to be more equipped for foreign aggression, and that will end up being more destructive to themselves?
No.
Okay, so then obviously you wouldn't say that that's more destructive towards Ukraine.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the Biden administration wasn't doing enough to try to solve and try to make more peace.
Okay, you're completely pivoting. Stop pivoting. Shut up and stop pivoting. I'm going to try one more. Shut up. You're pivoting because I'm still on the point of you saying that you think us supporting Ukraine is more destructive to Ukraine. Let me ask you a question.
It is.
So if I were to fight a 20-year-old when I was 10 compared to when I'm 20 today, at what age would I have more destruction impeded upon myself?
That's completely
answer my question.
Ridiculous.
Answer my question.
That's a ridiculous
If I was to
comparison.
fight the same 20-year-old when I was 10 years old and when I'm also 20 years old, dude, stop. You're on mute. If I was to fight a 20-year-old when I was 10 years old and once again when I was 20 years old, in which fight, at what age would I have more destruction towards myself? Unmute. Click on your profile picture and click the icon of the mic to unmute yourself.
Hello?
If I was to fight the same 20-year-old when I was 10 years old and when I was 20 years old, at what age would I have more destruction to myself?
Okay, well that's a ridiculous
If you don't answer the
comparison,
question,
because we're not
shut
talking
the
about
fuck
we're not
up,
talking about
you
can-
spineless fool. Either answer the question or get kicked. I'm going to allow you one last opportunity to answer the. I'm going to allow you one. I'm going to allow you one last opportunity to answer the question. If I was to fight a 20-year-old when I was 10 and when I was 20, at what age in which fight would I have more destruction to myself?
10. I don't even know what. Are you saying like
Okay,
obviously
okay,
a 10-year-old
now-
obviously a
Great,
10-year-old is not going to do as much damage to a 20-year-old.
Great. So why would I have less destruction to myself when I was 20 compared to 10? Is it because I'd be stronger?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so you have less destruction to yourself via a foreign adversary that's aggressing upon you the stronger that you are. My question to you is, when is Ukraine stronger? With the U.S. backing them or the U.S. not backing them?
Well, obviously with the U.S. backing them.
So Ukraine will have less destruction to themselves with the U.S. backing because they're stronger.
Okay, well, yeah, that's true, but about 5 months after they started funding them, they should have been trying to, or they should have at least attempted to try to stop the war when they didn't. I don't think they were doing enough to try to, resolve the problem.
The only resolution to the problem is for Russia to completely give up any land they've received from Ukraine and for Ukraine to exist as an independent state with their own autonomy. So now that you've agreed that the US backing Ukraine makes Ukraine stronger and makes Ukraine suffer less, all that you meant earlier when you said that there's more destruction if America backs Ukraine is that there's more destruction to Russia, the aggressor, because Ukraine is stronger. So you're pro-Russia. You're telling me that you'd rather have a scenario where Ukraine suffers more compared to a scenario where Russia suffers more.
I'm in a position where I think we should have been trying to
Stop pivoting. I want you to respond to exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, what's the question?
Earlier, you said that you don't support funding Ukraine because there'll be more destruction. Okay, and we just agreed that only means more destruction for Russia. If we don't support Ukraine, there's more destruction to Ukraine. So you're telling me that you prefer a scenario where there's more destruction to Russia, the adversary that is invading Ukraine unjustly, compared to a scenario when there's more destruction for Ukraine for Russia. So you prefer more destruction for Ukraine over more destruction for Russia. You're pro-Russia. Why are you pro-Russia when Russia's the invader?
Well, I'm not necessarily okay. I'm not pro Russia. I'm pro trying to stop this war, trying to do whatever. Like I think we should do whatever.
You can't just say nuh-uh. I just gave you a very clear argument that details how you are so very obviously pro-Russia.
Yeah, well, I'm not pro.
So then why do you support more destruction to Russia than
trying
Ukraine?
to stop the war?
Then why do you support more destruction to Russia than Ukraine? Sorry, why do you support more destruction to Ukraine than Russia?
I think that, look, I mean, it's a war. I mean, we can't prevent everybody from dying.
There's another pivot. There's two options. Either Russia suffers more or Ukraine suffers more. Which is the better option?
Well, I mean, they're both going to suffer. It's a war.
What's the better option, sir?
Less deaths.
You're not answering my fucking question. What's a better option? If one of these options was necessarily true, would you rather Russia suffer more or Ukraine suffer more?
Neither are good options.
Which one's better?
I mean, I guess more destruction to Russia would be a better option.
Okay, so then funding Ukraine is better than not funding Ukraine. Thank you for the concession.
All right. I guess I'll probably hop off. I've been on here too long.
I appreciate you so much for coming up, Kevin. We're going to move on to the next guest. If you're MAGA, go ahead and spam MAGA down below in that chat, and we're going to get that next guest up in here. That guest was a little bit insufferable, a little bit hard-headed, but, I think that we kind of made our point clear there at the end. I do apologize if I was, unusually aggressive towards him. I'm not going to lie. I've had a long day, and I'm just not here to put up a BS, but I'm going to try to calm down a little bit because, obviously, we have more productive conversation the calmer I am. What is up, Andy? Do you support Trump?
Hey, Dean. No, keep dunking on this Fucking Trumpers.
Hey, man,
Thank you. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate you for the love, Andy. I do appreciate you for the love. I'm going to try to calm myself down a little bit, though. If you're one of the 9,000 people in the live, guys, make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen, guys. Let's try to get up to 2 million likes on that phone screen right now. Also, make sure that you're sharing this live out with a handful of friends and spamming MAGA if you do want to come up. We are polling people from the chat that are spamming MAGA, such as Kyle Lush. Kyle Lush spams MAGA down below in that chat, so Kyle Lush gets an invite up onto that stream. Here we go, everybody. We got Kyle hopefully loading in here shortly. We also see Ben spamming MAGA. Ben gets an invite. All right, who's next? We see Rugby Scribe spamming MAGA, so Rugby gets an invite. I have a feeling like Rugby's probably not American. Rugby's predominant. It's not a very popular sport in America. It's much more popular in other countries. What's up, Rugby? Are you from America?
No.
All right. Well, we are just looking to debate individuals that are from America that support the president that are over the age of 18. So we're going to move on to the next guest. Everybody, just give us one moment. We got Tess invited up into the stream. Once again, if you're MAGA, continue to spam MAGA in that chat. While we get that next guest up in here, we got Tess loading in as we speak. What's up, Tess? Do you support Trump? Tess, I'm going to go to
Trump's a tangerine.
Oh, well, it's just a fetus. It's just a fetus. All right, guys, we're going to go to get that next guest up in here right now. Everybody, go ahead and spam MAGA down below in that chat if you do want to join. Everyone, we are just looking for a next debate right now. We got the next guest loading up into the stream. We got B loading up in. We got B loading up in. Everyone, just go ahead and give B a moment to load in. We are also going to get Tony up here. Quite frankly, Tony's loading into the live. Quite frankly, we're going to go ahead and get Munster up on the live as well. What's up, Tony? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, but can you do that cute thing when you go, "Oh, thank you for the $20"? Do that.
Okay. All right. Oh, thank you for the $1 on Venmo.
That's so cute.
Yeah, no, I got you. I actually have a couple donors to thank. So, with another $50 over on Venmo. Yeah. Thank you for the $50. Oh, 7 minutes ago. Oh, says, dude, as a Ukrainian, this guest is so painful to watch. So real. That was crazy. Thank you for the love. Oh, I want to see at least 500 WOs down below in the chat for the $50. Oh, I got a couple more. Ben with the $10 on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Ben. 100 W bins, 100 W bins. And then LUZ with the $10 on PayPal. And then support our youth services. Oh my gosh, thank you for the $25 donation over on PayPal. Thank you, support.
Wait.
And then one moment, Brittany with the $50 donation on PayPal. Holy shit, Brittany.
Prove it. Prove it.
Prove it?
How'd you just make $150 in 30 seconds?
Well, so all these donations are donations that I got in the middle of the last debate that I'm just now reading off. But thank you so much, Brittany, for the $50. At least
So
500 Brittany W's.
That's 200.
And then Hazel, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal as well, saying thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the love, Hazel. That is so incredibly kind of you. And then once again, Jamie with the $20 on PayPal as well. Thank you so much, Jamie. And then Christian with the $20 donation over on YouTube Super Chat. That one's a YouTube Super Chat. All you got to do is pull up my YouTube stream and you'll see it. It's public, man.
No, prove it.
I'm telling you, literally open up my YouTube stream. You'll see it. And then also Thomas with the $20 over on Venmo as well. Thank you for the love, Thomas. Huge shout out to Thomas. And Paul with the $50 super chat. Let's go, Paul. Thank you for the love, Paul. Paul says bi-weekly paycheck from the DNC. You are so bad at math, sir. From the DNC to buy the bots. Let's go. We need to buy more bots. LFG Paul.
So
Thank
600
you, Paul.
times 30 seconds.
Oh my God, Laura, thank you.
hours.
Shut up one moment. Laura, thank you for the $20 YouTube super chat. And then Shayla with the $10 on PayPal saying to show the guests this. Thank you for the love, Shayla and Laura and Paul.
Fucking shit, you loaded.
It's all fake money.
Are we?
Oh my God, Sid! Dude, this is crazy. Sid with a $50 donation on Venmo. On YouTube Super Chat. Sheesh, Sid. That's crazy. Thank you for the $50, Sid. For more proof. Dude, you guys are going crazy right now, guys. Thank you so much for the love. Shout out, Sid. And then Grave with a $20 Super Chat over on YouTube saying specifically to show homie that it's live. And then Sarah with a $20 on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Sarah. Shayla with a $10 once again. Oh my God. And then Riley with a $15 on Venmo. And Mallory with a 14 Canadian dollars on Super Chat. And Michaela with a $10 on Super Chat as well. What is going on? Oh my God. Jesus Christ, you guys. Parker with another $15 on Venmo. Oh my God. Alyssa.
Prove it.
Alyssa with the $200 donation on Venmo. Alyssa with the $200.
Yeah. Lying fuck. You lying fucking shit. How'd you just make $900 in 30
You
seconds?
think that I'm lying?
You made 900 in 30 seconds. Holy, you must be a fucking millionaire.
Alyssa, thank you so much for the love. That's insane. Oh my God. I want to see at least 2,000 Alyssa W's. That is ALISA. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love, Alyssa. And then Elise with a $50 donation over on Venmo. ELISE. Elise has literally never donated to a stream before, just donating to make this guest mad. Holy shit, Elise. Thank you so much. And then ISIS with the $10 on Venmo as well, saying squash them. You guys are going fucking crazy right now. Thank you everyone so much for the love. I have no clue what's going on. And we also got Jessica with the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat for more fake money. And Wendy with the $50 Super Chat as well.
Lying sack
Oh
of
my,
shit.
it's public. You can go to the YouTube stream and see it.
Bro, you made $900.
Wendy, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Holy, and then Colleen with a $10 super chat as well. Thank you, everybody. You guys are just going absolutely fucking insane right now. I literally have no clue what's going on. I'm so
Anybody
grateful for
who
you guys.
believes
Thank
you
you so
has gotta
much.
be fucked in the head. Anybody
You
who
literally just have to go to youtube.com/my
sick
name and you can
prick.
see them publicly.
You
Age,
sick
thank you for the
bastard.
$10 over on PayPal.
going.
Thank you for the love, Age.
Everybody-
You are literally coping so hard. You could literally go to my public YouTube stream and see the very public donations. Cope. Somebody's pissed. But oh my God. Oh my God.
How much?
Amanda
How much was that?
with the $100 donation on Venmo.
Oh my God, Amanda. W for
Are we
Amanda.
debating?
Thank you for the love, Amanda. And then Karen with the $20, Jace with the $5, Blair with the $10, Jamie with the 15, Casey with the 10,
This is
Luke
fucking
with the
insane.
10, my Melody with the 2.
$10,000 in 10 minutes. Holy fuck.
Tony, would you please thank all the donors?
Thank you for the $10,000 in 2 minutes. I'm the richest person on the internet.
Sorry,
Thank
Madison
you
with
so
the
much.
$5 and Tim with the 10. Thank you guys so much. Okay, well, first, before we go on to the debate, holy fucking shit, you guys. Kim, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. I have no clue what just happened. I appreciate every single one of you guys for the love.
You should hire me more often.
Thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. And Gigi with the $10 on Venmo. And Christopher with the 10. Guys, thank you so much for the love. Oh my God. I just want everybody to spam W donors in all of the live chats. I have no fucking clue what's going on. You guys are so incredibly generous. And I seriously mean that from the bottom of my heart. W's for all the donors. But Tony.
Will I get a percentage? I must have helped.
Oh, wow. You want free money from somebody that doesn't know you? That's not very conservative of you.
They know you? Thank you. Let's do it again.
Oh, you want me to?
Thank you,
I mean, before we get on to our debate, I can, but I just want to thank Kip for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, Cass with a 5, Chase with a 5. Thank you so much, and then Kim with the $10 over on PayPal, guys. Thank you so much. But anyways, Tony, let's go and get on with the conversation. Why do you support Trump?
Oh, who?
The president of America?
Oh, I don't pay attention to politics.
Jamie, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo, and Madison with the $5 on Venmo. Why did you request up?
I wanted to raise your funds.
No, dude, you're coping so fucking hard. Okay, he's coping so hard. The very first thing that he said when he joined was that he voted for Trump, and then he got pissed about the donations. It backfired in his face, and now he's coping. Tony, if you want to give us an argument why you support the president, go for it. If not, I'm going to go and kick you here and then just talk to the other guests because I am looking for debates.
You support racists.
Okay, who? Who? Who do I support? That's a racist? Are you just broken now? I'm pretty sure Tony's just broken. Megan, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Connor with $1. Then Therapeutic Treasures with a $20. Thank you for the love, Therapeutic. And then Jamie with another $10. And then, Evan with a $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you, Evan. Evan says, you a boss. Dude, Evan, thank you so much for the love. I do really appreciate it. Thank you so
Biden
much.
raped his daughter. Biden raped his daughter.
Okay, say great.
Biden raped his daughter.
Say
Biden
great.
raped his daughter.
Okay. We got to kick him because he just kept on repeating that he wasn't honoring the TOS. But just I guess I'll give that a response if somebody else comes up and claims that. But we had to kick him because he was just literally spamming it nonstop, and that will get our live restricted. But anyways, Munster, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. Well, before we hop into our discussion, I have just 3 more people to thank. Megan, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Todd with the $10 on YouTube Super Chat, and Just Relax with the $10 as well. I would also like to say, if you're watching over on YouTube and you'd like to support me, do please first consider supporting me on Venmo and PayPal. I did learn 2 days ago that YouTube takes 30 to 60% of the Super Chats. Meanwhile, I get 100% on Venmo and PayPal, so I do appreciate you guys. Shout out to all the donors. And then Michelle for the $5 on Venmo. But let's go ahead and hop into it, Monster. Why do you support Trump? Is Munster broken?
Support Donald Trump for his foreign policy and his view on abortion.
Okay, all right. Well, we just got done with a long conversation about foreign policy. Let's start with abortion. First and foremost, Munster, how old are you?
18, October 5th, 2006.
All right, phenomenal. So let's go ahead and hop into the conversation here. Why do you support Trump's view on abortion?
I feel like it should be up to the states.
And why is that?
That's the only reason. Because I feel like if there's a federal law indicating that everyone could just abort at any time, I just more say I don't like the mass, death of fetuses. You could argue that. I don't really care to the concept of it, but I just don't like the population depleting.
Oh, okay.
Per se, I agree.
Okay, so your argument is that we should. Oh, and the live got banned. It was coming. It was because of what the last guest said, man. It was because of what the last guest said. He was just spamming Biden raped his daughter 10 times. Oh no. I just got a message. My girlfriend's mom is here right now. Downstairs. Oh no. I've been up here screaming. Bloody murder. That is so embarrassing for me. We just got hit with a double fucking whammy, man. Shit, dude. I knew that my girlfriend's mom was helping her on her taxes while streaming. I thought my girlfriend was gonna go to her mom's house. I should have clarified on that first. My girlfriend just said, my mom heard every word of you screaming and cussing. I hope you are happy. Oh, I need to keep a closer eye on my texts. Because she texted me and told me beforehand that she was here, and I didn't see it. Oh, guys. That's actually pretty bad. Okay. All right. Now from here on out, I'm going to keep the personal things personal. But I'm cooked. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm cooked. Anyways, keep the personal things personal from here on out about that. But I thought I just informed you guys. I would inform you guys specifically about that. Yeah, she just texted me and said, you cooked yourself, pal. Oh, hit me with a pal. That's okay. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna have to make that one up. I'm gonna have to make that one up. Anyways, for everybody tuning into the YouTube, we got taken down over on TikTok. All right, we got taken down over on TikTok. So we're here. We did submit an appeal. We got a 1-day ban. We got a 3-day ban for a guest violation of sexual exploitation. So that is in reference to the guest that came up and said that Biden raped his daughter 4 times. He got the live taken down. We're going to see if the appeal comes through. I mean, but I do actually think that that guest violation did occur. So we're just going to have to figure that one out. And then also David, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love, David. Emily, thank you for the $10 on Venmo saying to keep it up. I do really appreciate that. And then Ryan, thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Dude, Ryan, thank you so much for the love, Ryan. Everybody, please show some love to Ryan. And then Patricia with the $20 as well, guys. Thank you so much. I like, you guys are being so incredibly kind today. I love y'all so much. Seriously, you guys, thank you so much for all the love. You guys have just been going absolutely insane today. Like, I literally don't even fucking know what to say. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for the love. So the appeal on DNC Dean did get rejected. So we have a 3-day ban over there. I think I do have another account that we'll be able to use in the meantime, though. So we're going to try to go over there now. But I do just have to send off a screenshot of that ban real quick to my team to see if they can help me get it back. At DNC Dean. Yeah, that was banned because of the guest, bro. Rough. Make it up to your girlfriend's mom? Oh, you bet I will. You bet I will. I'm gonna keep the specifics, private. But you bet I will. What? Oh, apparently the DNC Dean account got flagged for impersonation of myself. Holy shit. I am catching the L's left and right today. Rough day. Very rough day. Holy crap. What is going on today? Yo, it's like W after W after W. And like L after L after... Dude, wow. All right. Alrighty, you guys. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. For the rest of the day, we're going to be live on our DNC Dean account. That's where we're going to be live. Evan! Oh my God! Evan! Thank you so much for the love, Evan. Evan with the $50 over on PayPal. Thank you so much. Evan says, so it goes all to you. Thank you so much, Evan. Evan says, 33-year-old Marine veteran here. Thanks for fighting the good fight. Thank you so much for the love. Can we all please show some love to Evan down below in the live chat? That is literally so kind of you. Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now we are going to go ahead and reorient the stream. So we will now be broadcast through the phone, through the second account at It's Not Dean, for the debates for the rest of the day. So let's get that set up right now. I'm going to stop wasting y'all's time. Let me grab the tripod. And also, Evan, not just thank you for the donation, but also thank you for your service. W. Evan. See, I have so much respect for people that have fought for this country, both in the military and out of the military. Like, I mean, I find that to be a very serious devotion of your life to trying to do what it takes to make the life better for those around you. I feel like I can respect that. Thomas, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Jace with 1. And then Madeline, thank you so much for the 10. Thank you so much. I see that you said, please don't read that out loud. I will not read that out loud. But about your message, I am so sorry, Madeline. Thank you for the $20. That is very kind of you. All right. We have the tripod. Let's get ourselves set up. Where's the adapter? Where's the adapter? Quite frankly, I've lost it. Why am I always losing this thing? We found it. Perfect. All right, guys, you won't be able to hear me for about 10 seconds here. I just have to unplug the mic from the computer and then plug it in to the phone. All right, we're back. Sorry. We're back now. I just straight up forgot to plug the mic into the computer. Rough day we're having here. Max and then Freddie, thank you both for the $5 over on Super Chat. And then Raven, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you, Raven. Huge shout out to them. We're going to go ahead and just hop straight back into the debates. So let's just kind of start the live. Here we go, everyone. Wow, I'm so sad that we got banned on the DNC Dean account. I'm always sad when that account goes down. That is like my favorite account to go live from because I just love the live studio. Like, is it a more like enjoyable viewer experience for you guys to be watching on the DNC Dean account? Because I mean, it's a much more enjoyable experience for me as a streamer. I will tell you that much. All right, everybody, we are just looking for the background. There it is. Hyped. Thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you. Here's proof now. My guy's long gone, but I do appreciate you for the $10. All right. We're live at It's Not Dean on TikTok. Right now, quite frankly, we're hopping back into the debates, and I am so sad we got banned on DNC Dean. What account? At It's Not Dean. Phenomenal, quite frankly. Hello, everybody tuning in on TikTok. What is going on, you guys? It is so good to see you all. Oh my God, Hyped. Thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Hyped, dude, that's crazy. Thank you, Hyped. I guess we're going to go ahead and start off the TikTok stream with 500 W Hypes. Dude, you guys are just going insane today. Thank you, guys. Show some love to Hype. I have like no words. Just thank you. Just thank you, Hyped. But anyways, for everybody tuning in over on TikTok, we did get a ban over on DNC Dean. They took us down for guest violation, and we will not have access to that account for 3 days. So for the next 3 days, we're going to be on here. If you're tuning in to that TikTok stream, make sure that you're double tapping on that phone screen. Make sure that you're sharing this live out with a handful of friends. And once again, for everybody over on the YouTube, the TikTok account we're on is at It's Not Dean. But if you are in the stream and you voted for Trump, go ahead and hop in that queue for me and we'll pull you up here for a discussion. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get our discourse underway right now. By the way, Parker should be back tonight and I bet he'll be joining us. Ashley, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Ashley says, you're the best part of the day for me. I've been missing Parker's late night streams, but I usually fall asleep to his lives. Yeah, I'm doing the late night stream today, I guess. That's me. All right, we're going to get that first guest, Mr. Bucky, up in the box. Here we go, you guys. We're loading them in right now. Phenomenal. What is up, Bucky? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, what's up? Yes, I do.
All right, and why's that?
For the economy.
Okay, well, go ahead and give me the argument, man.
I just think it's a good opportunity to make money right now, especially with the tariffs.
How so exactly? I'd like buy the dip in the stock market.
Hell yeah! Are you not gonna buy any?
Oh
anything
my
for
God,
the stock market?
you're doing the meme. You're doing the meme.
What meme?
No, you're doing the meme. I want to make this so clear. The moment that we started to see signals of a recession, which would obviously imply that the stock market was going to crash, I started trolling with the position, well, this is just Donald Trump creating an investor's economy where you're going to buy the dip and then you put your money in there and then it makes you rich. And it's actually a redistribution of wealth from the billionaires to the average American. So he's fighting for you, the middle class. Your honest, true-hearted belief is so funny and so distorted that I've literally used it to troll. You are justifying that the stock market crashing is a good thing.
I wouldn't say it's a good thing all around, but got to look at the positives, you know?
Well, how about we look at the positives of what we would have had if Trump didn't win the election, we didn't start a trade war with the entirety of the planet, and instead we had Kamala Harris who encouraged a good trade policy and wanted to cut taxes for 100 million American workers in the low and the middle class. That seems like a significantly better outcome, which should lead you to the conclusion that therefore your support for Trump is unwarranted and incorrect.
Not really, because I live in California, you see? So I don't support Gavin Newsom releasing water into the oceans. You know, we could have used that water to put out those fires.
And what does that have to do with Kamala Harris?
I guess nothing, but you know, Democrats are all the same.
Oh, Democrats are all the same? Does that mean that Republicans are all the same? People in the
Not
right are all the
necessarily.
same? No.
Not
Okay.
necessarily.
So now you're
I,
just
I
holding a
am double
hypocritical
standard
double.
right here.
Yes, that is a hypocritical double standard.
Yep.
I mean, I could use your same logic here to say, well, Nick Fuentes is on the right. He's a white supremacist. Must mean Trump is too.
Who's Nick Fuentes?
Oh, well, I'm actually quite happy that you don't know who he is. He's an alt-right, quote-unquote influencer who just gets more people to hate anybody that isn't a white guy.
Is he the guy that was saying about like, hey ladies, we own your bodies or some weird shit like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was pretty stupid. I would not agree with that.
Okay, so you're telling me that the right isn't a monolith, and you could disagree with others on the right, so then why is the left a monolith?
I guess not. It's just the.
All right, so why was Trump better than Harris?
Why is Trump better than Harris?
Yeah, Malia, thank you for the galaxy.
Well, like I said, I think it's a good buying opportunity right now. I'm actually looking into buying some stocks right now.
So you're telling me that Trump is better than Harris because Trump wants to crash the stock market, but Harris wouldn't have crashed the stock market. Trump would have created a buying opportunity. Kamala Harris wouldn't have created a buying opportunity.
In 2020, we were heading towards a recession.
Yeah, what else was happening in 2020?
Okay, fine. COVID and the world was going through
Wait,
inflation.
actually, no. I let's blame it on the administration. I agree with you there. I'll give you that point. Let's blame the fact that we were heading towards a recession in 2020 on the administration. Okay.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
Trump,
who was president in 2020?
I know
that. Yeah.
Because Biden won the election, and by the way, I'm not an election buyer, but Biden won the election, so the stocks and the market started going down because they knew that Biden won.
So what is one bad policy that the Biden-Harris administration passed for the economy? Then also, Sid, thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs on TikTok. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the last time I had so many gifted subs. Thank you so much for the love, Sid. And then, oh my gosh, also Ashley with the $100 donation on Venmo. Dude, Ashley, that's insanity. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley, I want to see 1,000 W's for Ashley. That is ASHLY. Ashley says, make it up to your girlfriend and her mom by getting some flowers. Stay passionate, even if that means yelling and cussing. Yeah, I would have toned it down to about where I'm at right now if I knew that her mom was home. I think I'm going to do flowers and a dinner. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to be upfront and apologize. But thank you so much for the $100, Ashley. That is so incredibly kind of you. But go ahead and take it away, Bucky. Tell me one bad economic policy that the Biden-Harris administration passed that caused dips in the stock market.
I would say the infrastructure bill, like just wasting a lot of money on like bridges and roads and highways.
Oh my God. So first of all, Donald Trump said that he was going to get that same infrastructure bill passed for 4 years, and he failed. Then Biden succeeded in his first month. The infrastructure bill was one of the best policies passed by the Biden-Harris administration because that's what helped us rebound from the negative economic implications onset by the pandemic. Consumer confidence was down. Consumer spending was down. The unemployment rate was up. That's why we were barreling towards recession. They passed this $1 trillion bill to just create jobs, spawn them in out of thin air. That means that more people are employed, more people will have more money, meaning that consumer confidence goes up, meaning that spending goes up, meaning that a recession is prevented. And this is one of the many policies that led the U.S. to have the quickest rebound from the negative economic implications onset by the pandemic out of any other country in the G7. How could you possibly tell me that's a bad thing?
Well, I mean, using that logic, didn't Biden fail to do a border bill with the Senate and, the one bipartisan one in 2023, I believe, or 2024, something like that?
2023, yeah, it's because Donald Trump prevented him. I mean, Biden didn't prevent Trump from passing the infrastructure bill. If he did, I'd blame it on Biden.
You would?
Yeah, of course, but he didn't.
All right. That's fair enough. Do you even like Biden?
Do I like Biden? I mean, I think that there's a lot of good things about him. I think that there's a couple bad things about him. I thought he was overall all right, but like definitely significantly better than Trump. So do you have any other reasons why Trump was better than Harris?
Yes. The border, like I mentioned.
Okay. Do you think that Donald Trump has good effective policy to reduce undocumented entry into our country in the long term?
Well, I want to stop immigration in general.
Sir? Why is that?
I just I feel like there's so many people here. I live in a congested I used to live in a congested area in Los Angeles, right? And there would be like so much traffic, so many people, so too many people there. It's overpopulated. That's why I moved to Arizona.
Well, if your issue is overpopulation, would you agree that we should restrict the amount of children that American citizens have because of overpopulation?
Is this about the AB?
No. I'm saying, do you think that we should restrict the amount of children that American families can have because we need to prevent overpopulation?
That wouldn't be a horrible idea. Like
You're
every
trolling. No. You're
Oh,
trolling.
hold on.
You're trolling. You're
Hey,
trolling.
hear me out. Hear me out.
No, you're officially a troll. You're
Someone
officially.
says I sound Hispanic. That's crazy. You're Mexican. That's crazy. I don't even speak Spanish. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. But anyway,
Dude, you're definitely trolling. Okay.
how am I trolling?
Dude, because you just told me that we should limit birth rates of American families. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I'm
That was
sorry.
what I'll give it to you. You're probably one of the best
Yeah,
trolls
I
I've
voted.
ever
I voted for Kamala. I'm sorry about that, man.
Get out of here. Thanks for apologizing because you did waste my time. But I will say you're one of the more convincing trolls I've had in my life. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. Isn't that crazy that somebody could come up here and say, stop all immigration, cut birth rates of American citizens, and then you have to question, like, it's possible that they may not be trolling? What's up? Do you support Trump?
Squatters.
What's that? Simbosa, do you support Trump?
Hello?
Oh, sorry, dude. I kicked him before he said that. He just wasn't answering. We're going to move on to the next guest. If you're one of the 3,000 people in the TikTok live stream, you guys make sure that we are double tapping away on that phone screen and sharing this live out with a handful of friends. We're going to get that next guest up in here right now. If you are MAGA, go ahead and let me know in that chat right now by spamming MAGA. And we are going to be on this account for the next 3 days as we got to ban elsewhere. The DNC Dean account is gone, which is highly unfortunate and very sad, but here we are nonetheless. Hello, Jacob. Do you support Trump?
Can you hear me?
I can. Do you support Trump?
I support his stupidity.
All right, moving on to the next guest. We got Date FN loading up into the box. Here we go, everyone. Just going to give us one moment to get that next guest up in here. By the way, if you do want to support me, you can find the Venmo and the PayPal and the link tree in the bio, as well as you can support over on YouTube through Venmo and the PayPal and the pinned message or through Super Chat. But once again, go ahead and drop a MAGA double in that chat if you do want to join up. We got Kyler loading into that box right now, quite frankly. Here we go.
Dean.
Hello, Kyler. Do you support
How's
Trump?
your day going, man? No, I just want to say I love you, man.
Okay, well, Kyler, I do appreciate you for the love, man. I guess you have a good rest of your day. Very, very kind fella right there, chat. Very kind fella. All right, we got Looksmaxxing loading in. Is this one of those like alt-right Looksmaxxers? Hello, alt-right. Are you a Looksmaxxer? Is that you?
I'm indeed, Dean.
Do you support Trump?
I do indeed.
Okay, can I just ask you a genuine question?
Yeah, sure.
How far off are we until you think that the alt-right Looksmaxxing community starts endorsing men wearing makeup? And I actually, this is a genuine question because like you guys take everything like very serious insofar as outward appearance. Like, you know, like, I mean, you even have like almost like a whole different language of like terms to refer to like different attributes of like phenotypical expressions in the face. And then you like rank it on this PSI like scale of like more attractive to less attractive. And like you like break it down into what you think is a science of becoming more physically attractive. At what point are you going to recognize that you could also use makeup to be more physically attractive?
Now that was the longest question I've ever heard. But to answer it, makeup is no, it's not for men. Yeah, no, it wasn't actually originally designed for men. No, no.
But like one day, like the Looksmaxxing community on the alt-right's going to be like, well, I have some acne. I could Looksmax even more if I put some concealer on.
I mean, I guess, but then...
See what I mean? You get it. How many years, okay, until the alt-right Looksmaxxing community starts wearing makeup?
Let's say 100, but I got a question for you, Dean.
One second, what time is it for you, man?
Right now it is 8 p.m.
8 p.m. What state are you in?
Wait, whoa, why?
Because I have to ensure that you're in a state where it's 8 p.m.
Bro, I got a question for you, bro.
After you tell me what state you're in.
I'm in Arkansas.
I don't trust it. We're gotta move on to the next guest. Made the bullet, quite frankly. Here we go, everyone. We got the next guest loaded into the live. Hello. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and why the hell do you do that?
Well, I believe that he has good intentions for things, even though it may not seem like it right now. Um, so far as pulling troops out of or not funding Ukraine, there was there is barely any soldiers left in Ukraine to even fund. If we're funding someone, they gotta pull the trigger. Money can't pull a trigger. There has to be someone that's fighting that battle. They're running low on soldiers.
Okay.
But so Trump did give him an offer for 50% resources. So if we went over there for 50% resources and we were on their land, and then Russia attacked us on our resources, we then have the authority to call on NATO to fight in Ukraine because they're fighting.
Which is in World War
America.
III. You understand that you just literally schemed World War III?
I'm sorry?
You just schemed World War III. You just described a
that's
strategy
not
to
a
start World
scheme.
War III.
That's not a. What is the difference in World War III and what's going on right now?
Right now, the conflict is between two countries and external support to some degree, not directly involved in the war, such as support from NATO countries, including the US, to putting NATO boots on the ground to fight Russia, which is World War III. Wow. Now, I want to go ahead and ask you a question because you said that Donald Trump had good intentions. So he actually reposted a TikTok on his Truth Social yesterday stating, and North Korea, I forgot about them. Everyone tends to. That, anyways, to get back to what I was saying, you said that he had good intentions. So yesterday he reposted a TikTok on his Truth Social stating that he intentionally crashed the stock market. Was that one of his good intentions?
Oh yes, you really don't know how deep that goes. So as for the Federal Reserve, we get our money from the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is constantly taxing or adding incentives to that. What word could I use here? Oh, Jesus, I can't think of the word. I was just talking about this word with someone else. When you get a credit card, the interest. So the Federal Reserve gives the government interest. The Federal Reserve is a private entity of their own. It's not part of the government. The government, the government borrows money from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve actually puts interest on the money that they loan the government. Therefore, right now, with the market crashing, the Federal Reserve is not going to have any choice but to drop the interest. Then the United States is actually going to redo their loans because now that the interest it's dropped, that's going to, just like a house. If interest rates are lower, they remortgage their house. That's the same thing that's going to be happening with the American dollar. You need to look into it rather than laughing.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, but like the cope is insane. Dude, you went from complaining about the price of gas to justifying a recession. Dude,
I didn't talk about gas.
Now I'm going to go ahead and just, kind of respond to what you said. So, you said that the Federal Reserve is not public, it's private. That's not true. So the Federal Reserve Board is an agency of the federal government located in Washington, D.C., and they take orders from and report to Congress, okay? What you're referencing are the 12 regional banks that operate under the Federal Reserve, and which are structured like private corporations. However, the oversight from the federal committee is still yet controlled by Congress. And then secondly, you're telling me here that, well, if we crash the stock market and we go into a recession, interest rates goes down. Yes, you're right. I have a question. The economic turmoil onset by the pandemic in 2020 until 2022, did you want that to happen or did you not want that to happen?
With COVID?
Yeah, just like the negative economic implications and from 2020 until 2022.
I don't think that has anything much to do with any financial. A lot of, you know what? I worked in a hospital when you're talking about COVID. I have seen so many people die. I have had to stand in elevators with corpses. That's a whole different ball game.
No, I'm not
Now,
asking
when
you.
we're
I'm not
talking
asking you about the
war and stuff
pandemic.
like
I'm not
that,
asking you about the pandemic. I'm asking you for the negative economic implications of the pandemic. Like, I mean, like we had like a 14.8% level of unemployment. We were like nearing a recession for quite a long time. Huge reductions in consumer confidence, saving and spending. And what that led to was a drop in interest rates originally before inflation hit. And the reason it led to a drop in interest rates was because nobody was spending their money. So the feds had to bump consumer spending by decreasing interest rates. And that's exactly what would happen if we were to enter into a recession. But I don't think that justifies the recession. And that's what you're telling me. You're telling me that that justifies the recession.
well,
Like hurting
when it,
every American justifies the recession. Putting
when it
families
comes
on the
to
streets justifies the recession because interest rates go down. It's unbelievable.
when it comes to those years, people had to social distance. People lost a lot of their jobs, so of course the unemployment rate increased. People did lose their jobs. People weren't going out. They were actually told to be at home. And as me, I worked in the military. The military couldn't go as far as 8 miles from base. There were certain restrictions that were placed where it was actually
Pivot's
it
insane.
was tough for even the economy to even stay afloat.
Can we even like have a conversation without a pivot? Like all that I'm saying here is that you're explaining to me that a crash in the stock market is a good thing because it will cause a reduction in consumer confidence and spending, which will barrel America towards a recession, which the Fed will respond to by dropping interest rates. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing.
Can you please say that again?
Yeah, you're saying that that Donald Trump intentionally crashing the stock market is good because it will lead to a reduction in interest rates from the Feds, right?
And why do you think that he is intentionally
No, just answer my
crashing the
question.
stock
Just answer my question. You think that the intention is good because it will lead in a reduction in interest rates by the Feds, correct or incorrect?
I said that his intentions for everything is good. You can have good
Okay.
intentions
So,
for
but is that the
things,
reason why? So you think that's a good intent?
outcome.
Do you think that the intention of his to crash the stock market is good because you think it'll produce the outcome of the Feds dropping the interest rates?
I never said that he had intentions on crashing the stock market.
He
I
did.
said
He said that.
he has good intentions for America.
Okay. Well, then how do you feel
He has
about his
good
intention to
intentions
crash
for
the stock
things.
market?
With every action comes a reaction, whether it's a positive or a negative.
You're not answering my question. I'm asking you if his intention that he made clear on Truth Social to crash the stock market when he reposted a TikTok saying he was intentionally crashing the stock market, is that
So I
intentions
missed
of
that
Trump's
post.
good or bad?
I missed the post where it said that he was intentionally crashing the stock market.
Okay, well, he made it. So was that intention good or bad?
To intentionally crash the stock market? So there are pros and cons to it. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't see both sides of the coin.
Dude, stop answering like a politician. You know that you're caught.
Because there's a lot of things that you guys don't know. You don't know.
MAGA is so far gone that you can't even call intentionally crashing the stock market a bad thing. MAGA is so far gone. This is why I say that you guys are a cult. You literally
Do you know how
cannot
many
call
times the
intentionally
stock
crashing the
market
stock
has
market as a bad
crashed?
thing.
I have gone back through the finances through the 1600s. Do you know who runs everything? Do you know that Rothschild owns 500,000 acres in Israel? Do you know that they own banks in Britain, in France, in Russia, in Israel, and here in the
Be
United
honest, do you
States?
think
They
that
are
you're
worldwide.
Do you think that like talking about the Rothschilds is answering my question
The
about
Rothschild is part of the Federal Reserves.
do you think that this in any manner whatsoever responds to my question? My question once again is Donald Trump made it clear that he intentionally crashed US stock markets. And my question is, was it a good intention of Trump's or a bad intention of Trump's? The Rothschilds and the Feds have nothing to do with this.
So you're trying to get me to paint a specific action as to being bad or good.
Yes.
When it has pros and cons.
So overall, do the pros outweigh the
I
cons or do the
cannot
cons outweigh the
dictate
pros?
Your agenda. I can't tell you if he had bad intentions, if his intentions really, I
Oh
want
my
to
God. You're in a
burn
cult.
America down.
You're
You're
in a
asking.
cult.
I'm not in a cult.
Yes, you are. You can't even condemn intentionally crashing the stock market. Hey, I have a question. Were there pros and cons to Kamala Harris?
There were pros and cons.
So
to
would you be
Kamala
able to tell me
Harris,
if she was
but
overall a good candidate or a bad candidate?
Unfortunately, she ran with the whole Obama-Biden administration, in which really looked bad on her.
Just answer my question. Would you be able to? Can you tell me that overall she was a bad candidate?
Yes, she was a bad candidate.
So how come you could tell me that overall Kamala Harris was a bad candidate, even though she has pros and cons, but because Donald Trump's intention to crash the stock market, you cannot make an evaluation if that was overall good or bad because it has pros and cons?
What? So you know what? Actually, I'm so sorry. I want to answer your question also when you got cut off of your live. You got cut off and you wanted to talk about abortions. I do have something to say on that. But I don't want you to kick me off the live until we do touch on that. So as for Kamala being, I don't really see too many of her policies as being truthful and honest.
You're not answering my question. Just to make sure that you're clear on what my question is, can you repeat my question?
Do I think Kamala Harris would have been a good candidate?
That's actually not the question that I asked. So I'm glad that I got the clarification. Are you ready? Can you listen if I were to ask it again?
Go ahead.
So you affirm Kamala Harris had pros and cons, but then you affirm that overall she was a bad candidate. So in other words, you're saying that even though Kamala Harris had pros and cons, overall you could still make the judgment that she was a bad candidate. But because Donald Trump's intention to crash the stock market had pros and cons, you cannot evaluate it if it was overall good or bad.
No, that would be like that's one thing that the president is doing.
So this one thing that the president is doing, is it good or bad?
You know what? I don't even think the president know whether it's going to be a good or bad outcome. This is something that's called risks. This is what risks taking is. It comes with. It's either going to do the American people such good.
I can't do this. You're going to make me literally quit. I'm seriously, man. This shit right here. You make me want to quit debating. This is insane.
Because I'm giving you my opinion and I'm not giving you what you want to hear.
Brother.
What do you want me to say?
You can't even tell me that Donald Trump intentionally crashing the stock market is a bad thing.
Because you don't see further or past the stock market crashing. You don't see past that. There are further. It's like he's not playing checkers. He's playing chess.
He's playing 4D chess, art of the deal, 5D, 60, 88D chess. This man is a genius.
It all has to do with the Federal Reserves.
Oh my God. Tell me one bad thing Kamala Harris wanted to do for the economy. Do you think her economic policy was bad?
No, I don't think that her economic policy was bad.
Do you think that it was better than Trump's?
I think the way she presented herself.
Do you think that her economic policy was better or worse than Trump's?
Hold on.
Sorry.
As for policy wise, she was not professional. I would not want her representing our country. She had, who is it? Beyonce on stage. Donald Trump had respectable people up there. He didn't have Beyonce and Kim Kardashian or whoever it is. Who was she trying to? That only goes to tell me that she's only trying to aim to get the voters of people who she thinks will go, the majority. Okay, instead of going up there in respectable manner, she didn't carry that with me. I'm sorry, but do I think that her policies were bad? No, I don't. But
so let me make this clear. You think that Kid Rock is respectable?
When did he come in the picture?
He at the RNC.
When was that?
I don't know when the RNC was, but at the RNC. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. Beyonce's fucking awesome. Beyonce is objectively more respectable than Hulk Hogan or Kid Rock. Oh, oh my God, he had Bryce Hall on stage at one of his rallies. Do you know who Bryce Hall is?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, I know who Bryce Hall is. me and Bryce Hall have specifically both, we've been in it, okay? Bryce Hall is the last thing that I would ever call respectable. Or Aiden Ross. He also did a live stream with Aiden Ross. Is Aiden Ross respectable? Do you know what that is? No. What about Billy Ray? Oh, no. What about, here's the worst, having a fucking rapist in the White House with him? Conor McGregor? You know Conor McGregor? What about that? Or what about when he ate dinner with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West? Lil Pump? Are those all respectable people?
I actually don't even know the half of the people that you had named.
Oh, well, how about we start with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West? When he had a private dinner with him in 2022, they're both Nazis. Self-proclaimed, by the way.
Kanye West. Nazi? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
I would have to ask for resources on that one, but...
He just released a song called Hail Mustache Man.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that.
He sold a shirt with the bad symbol on it. Or I could just direct you to Twitter.
I did actually see it.
Where he just like tweets out, "I am a Nazi."
Yeah, I did not hear about that. I did see him wearing the sign.
So why are you over here playing dumb then?
I actually did not see him and Kanye West together.
Oh yeah, they had a private dinner at Mar-a-Lago in 2022.
Do you know one thing that I really do believe is that people only see certain sides, and that's where the division is coming from within our people. I would love to be able to be on the page. I wish everyone could be on the same page. Like, you know what? What did we have to choose from? It was one evil or the other. We had to choose from the two lesser evils. And that's it. And Donald Trump just had more to offer. He's offering, with changing our nutritional values with, Robert Kennedy. I am so sorry. Anyways, geez. And also going through with the audits. I mean,
can I respond to that real quick?
It's a little controversial seeing
Can I respond to that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So Donald Trump will make the health of Americans worse. Let me ask you a question. Do people generally have better health outcomes the more money they have or the less money they have?
See, all that's going to come after stock markets crash.
Just answer my question.
Okay.
Do people typically have better physical health the more money they have or the less money they have?
There's actually been studies done on that, but people are more healthier when they have more money. Yes, they're happier. They buy healthier food.
Okay, I'm about to make the easiest argument ever. Donald Trump is redistributing wealth from poor people to rich people. His economic policy reduces the purchasing power of every single American that makes less than $395,000 per year in taxable income. Okay? This means that there will be significantly great question. My source is the Institute on Taxation and Economics.
I'm really interested to read on that. I don't have pen and paper. I would love for you to send that information to me because I would like to read on it. But I also didn't like the fact that Kamala ran out of her debate, out of all her debates, and was $2 million in the hole. That really didn't appear to me to be a very financial responsible.
$2 million in the hole?
Yes. Was it 2 million or 2 billion?
Girl, Donald Trump put the S&P 500 $4 trillion in the hole yesterday.
Do you think that he is really capable of that? Or do you think that it's all of, first of all, the damages that people are doing to Tesla, the riots that are going on against Donald Trump? They're trying to they were literally trying to take his citizenship away from him.
I think this has to be probably the craziest guest I've had in my life. Not in like in like an emotionally explosive sense, but just in a straight up cult member sense. This guest is a member of a cult.
I'm only presenting facts.
No. Are you telling
Things that I'm
me?
seeing with my
So
own eyes.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you an argument, and your response is gonna prove that you're a member of the cult. In the last 48 hours, trillions of dollars have been wiped out of U.S. stock markets and the valuations of American companies because Donald Trump imposed tariffs on every other country in the world outside of Russia, and this resulted in a massive uproar in the future markets because nobody knows what the hell is to come, and a massive decline in consumer confidence, which crashed the American markets and caused the largest one-day drop since 2020. What is your response to this position?
All the other countries want to throw a fit because he's putting tariffs on them. That's
my argument had nothing to do with other countries. I would love to talk about them next, but you are actively pivoting.
Well, you mentioned tariffs.
I want you to respond to the following position. Donald Trump is personally 100% responsible for upsets in the American stock market in the last 48 hours because of his implementation of tariffs on every other country in the world outside of Russia, which caused a uproar in future markets as nobody knows what the future holds, and a massive reduction in consumer confidence, which sent American markets on a spiral down. I want you to respond to the claim that I made that Donald Trump is 110% responsible for this.
Yes, Donald Trump is 100% responsible for this. But you know there's a but coming.
Of course I do.
So if we charge China 25% on tariff for one specific thing, and they charge us 300%, how is that fair?
Okay. The unfair thing is to address tariffs that other countries have imposed on us by starting with tariffs imposed on them, because that just ends up hurting the American people. The adequate way to solve other countries that have tariffs imposed on us is to try to seek diplomatic behaviors and negotiate trade agreements, not to impose counter tariffs. Every single time we've increased tariffs on China, they just increased them on us, and they've hurt American exporters. So I don't think it's fair to the American farmers that have gone bankrupt because of that decision. But Donald Trump did not place these tariffs on other countries in a reciprocal manner. For instance, Canada does not tariff. Actually, let me reframe that question. How much money do you think American companies paid in tariffs to Canada for our exports to them last year?
Ooh, I don't know about them. I actually did not do any research.
Nothing. So where's the reciprocal tariffs that are being placed on Canada? Why do those exist when they are not tariffing a single good we export?
I'm not sure.
Exactly. And then the spreadsheet of the quote unquote reciprocal tariffs that was released by Donald Trump in his White House, their calculations of tariffs just straight up aren't fucking tariffs. It's just the trade deficit divided by our exports, which is not a tariff. So the baseline tariffs that he said these other countries have on us was just a straight up lie. He lied to the American people.
So this tariff, this unfair or whatever you want to call it, tariff has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. How long should it go on before someone steps in and said these things need to start becoming reciprocal?
So I literally just detailed how the tariffs aren't reciprocal, but you kind of ignored it. And then secondarily, no, America has been able to successfully get other countries to reduce their tariffs on us through trade agreements. Even Trump was able to do this in his first term under the USMCA. The USMCA was a trade deal negotiated by Trump that reduced the tariffs that Canada and Mexico have imposed on us.
Okay, so I think you may have me beat on that one.
Oh,
Can we move over to abortion?
my lord. Yeah, let's move over to abortion after I think some of my donors. Traceless, thank you so much for the $5 donation over on Venmo. That is incredibly kind of you. As well as Porsche with the $51.50 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Porsche. That is so incredibly kind of you, Porsche. It is Porch. All MAGA needs a 5150. They're the definition of the cult. That was a pretty creative and funny donation. Thank you, Porch. Then also Sid, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo, saying she liked a video of a bloody truck saying protester edition. What? Why'd you do that? Weren't you just about to tell me why killing fetuses is wrong, but apparently you support and endorse killing fucking protesters?
Are you talking to me?
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know where you just got that from.
From a very, very reputable inside source.
What?
A very reputable inside source just told me that you have liked a video of a bloody truck saying protester edition. So killing fetuses is wrong, but killing protesters is good?
What? No, okay, so hold on. If I like a video, maybe I should actually just use the little flag instead of the heart. That's kind of like my thing. I want to keep this video. I watch so many videos. It's not that I like them. I want to keep them so that I can refer back to them. And
Okay. Oh no, I'm not. I'm just gonna leave it there. How about this?
Yeah, you making this point out to me makes me realize that maybe I should actually try to start using that little flag piece.
I'll go ahead and let the viewers make up their own mind about the statement. I won't even give my interpretation, and I'll just simply ask you to tell us why you think abortion's wrong. I think now's a perfect time to go into why you think killing fetuses is wrong after liking the video saying that killing protesters is good.
Okay, so I don't have. Well, anyways, the abortion debate really came out loud and strong through the Democratic Party. But once Trump came into office, instead of trying to deal with the whole abortion issue, he flipped the script and then signed an executive order forcing insurances to cover IVF for women to get pregnant at a cheaper price. So he said, fuck abortion. Oh, I'm so sorry. Screw abortions.
You could cuss on the live. You could say fuck.
Oh, well, screw abortions. And then this is what I'm going to have for you instead. You can now get access to IFE for a low price, and your insurance is going to cover it. And if you don't believe me, please look it up.
Dude, what is this argument? First and foremost, it's not IFV, it's IVF. And then secondarily, you're basically saying, well, he got rid of abortion, but he gave them IVF, which was a better alternative. This is like saying, just listen to me. Where do you live?
Florida.
Florida, okay. So this is like saying, well, Biden cut off all clean water supply to everybody in Florida, but he gave everyone a new, nice Ford SUV.
Well, no,
he replaced the clean water with a new SUV for everybody in Florida. Well,
and honestly,
wouldn't that be just such a good decision?
I'm not sure exactly why he would have handed abortion off to the states, because really we're all one people, but maybe it's just because he didn't want to be that person in order to make that decision. I don't know why he didn't just sign a petition on it, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it should be effective, or whether it should be eliminated.
So I think that him handing it to the states was a grave moral atrocity, which had so many negative repercussions. I think that a woman's access to elective lethal abortions in the first 20 weeks of pregnancy is a human right. I very much so do believe that. I think that it is an infringement upon a woman's human right to prevent her access to abortion in that time period. And when Donald Trump rescinded it to the states, he basically just allowed states to legislate human rights violations, and that they did. And now 66 million American women and girls do not have access to elective lethal abortions in like 25 of our states. and every single day, there is 60 great victims that are also denied access to abortion and healthcare. Also, Tiffany, you should join the live. You just said guest is eating Dean up. We gotta have you up here.
Yeah, I actually have people over here whispering at me, but anyways, my own child came in here to tell me to actually make it clear on what my stance is for an abortion. I'm not exactly sure. Hold on one second. I actually discussed these things with her.
With your child? I find that so I find that one pretty ironic.
Okay, well,
you confide in literal
older
children.
adult.
You confide in literal children to construct your political beliefs.
No, because I don't know if she's actually watching the live that I'm in, and she's thinking that you are interpreting what I'm saying as completely backwards. So,
what's your position on abortion? Do you think that abortion's wrong?
Yes.
And why is that? Oh wait, I gotta ask you real quick. How old's your child, if you don't mind?
That's not. I'm not giving that information.
Above 18 or under 18?
I'm not going to give that information.
Okay, tell us why you think abortion's wrong.
That's very controversial. I'd prefer not to even go on that topic.
You were the one that literally told me earlier that you wanted to go on the topic.
I know, because there are so many people that are back and forth about abortions, but no matter what, overriding the abortions, the reason I brought this up is to bring to people's attention that Donald Trump did make it so that people can get pregnant. The people who cannot get pregnant and that cannot have a baby can now have a baby. Instead of like eliminating abortions and making it wrong and killing kids, he is actually helping people create more children.
Okay, I don't know, like the argument that you're making just says these two things have like very little correlation with one another. Like the only correlation between like IVF and abortion is just that they're like both like reproductive health care for women. Like this is like somehow comparing abortion to like I don't know, like birth control, honestly, or just like some other form of reproductive health care for women. Like I don't understand like the logic that you're describing of insofar as how IVF is related to abortion. Like you're like, well, he got rid of abortion, but he's also offering IVF so people can have kids. Well, the point women get abortions in elective lethal circumstances is because they don't want to have kids. So I don't see how IVF is going to be that relevant for them.
So to make this a little bit more simple, abortions was a hot potato. And he handed the hot potato off to the states. Not a decision that he wanted to go through. Not something that he felt like he wanted to actually.
Yeah, I'm arguing that decision was very immoral.
Or whether he did not want it to happen or did want it to happen, no matter what, it would have hurt him in all of his debates. So he just handed it off.
So I'm telling you that handoff was very immoral, as it has led to over 66 million human rights violations.
I don't think that one person should actually have say in what people do with their bodies anyways.
I want you to respond to the following statement. Donald Trump rescinding the right to get an abortion to the state level was one of the most immoral decisions made by our government in modern American history, if not all of American history, as it led directly to 66 million human rights violations.
The action that Donald Trump took did not violate anyone's actions at all. He passed it off to the states.
God.
He did not make a decision. The states are making the decision.
Hey, okay, I have a good question. Do you know who Robert E. Lee is?
No, I don't.
Of course you don't. Robert E. Lee was the leader of the Confederate Army in the Civil War. And you know what Robert E. Lee said? Well, he just wanted states to have more autonomy. He just wanted states to be able to make the decision for themselves if they wanted to legalize or criminalize slavery. So if you were alive during the Civil War, and we're going to assume that the Confederacy won, and Robert E. Lee was made president, and he told all states in our country that they had the right to legalize or criminalize slavery as they'd wish, would you agree with me that Robert E. Lee would directly be responsible for millions of human rights violations as experienced by chattel slavery? While she's pondering that question, I've seen a couple people ask me if I protested today in that chat. The answer is yes, it is. Yeah, actually, I even spoke to my local anti-Trump protest, and I posted a video of it over on Instagram. It's actually performing quite well. It looks like people like what they see. Right now, it has over 17,000 likes. Wow.
Okay, I actually lagged for a little bit. What was your question?
Robert E. Lee was a leader of the Confederate Army. Robert E. Lee wanted states to have the autonomy to determine if they wanted to legalize or criminalize slavery themselves. If Robert E. Lee and the Confederate Army had won the Civil War and Robert E. Lee was made president and he said all states should be able to legalize or criminalize slavery as they'd wish, do you think that Robert E. Lee would be directly responsible for millions of human rights violations as experienced by black people under chattel slavery?
Oh my God, that's so much to digest. It really is.
Okay, I'll just reframe it. If Trump rescinded the constitutional amendment that banned slavery and allowed states to legislate on that themselves, and like 20 states said slavery is legal, and millions of individuals were then enslaved, would Donald Trump be directly responsible for their enslavement?
The responsibility of him passing it off to others is passing off that responsibilities to those people. I guarantee you some are going to say yes and some are going to say no.
Okay, so
what outcome would have came if
I
can tell you don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm gonna pause.
Was Robert E. Lee pro-slavery?
I told you I didn't know who Robert E. Lee was.
I told you 3 times who Robert E. Lee was. The leader of the Confederate Army. Dude.
And I lagged during that moment.
Oh my God.
The whole live paused.
Oh my God.
I know, I'm sorry.
Hey, Parker.
Hey, what's up? Welcome.
Good to have you back, man. Dude,
I'm glad to be back.
We were cooking over on DNC Dean, okay? We had like 11,000 people in there, but then we got a 3-day ban.
That's brutal, dude. That was me on every single one of my accounts. But I'm glad to be back, everyone. I'm glad to be back. I've been traveling all day. I just got back. I just ate food. We're here now. I'm glad to be back. Some debates. I heard you were talking to some person that had some pretty unique views, I might say. Is this the person that you were talking to?
Well, I think you're going to need to probably be a little bit more specific and brash. Do you mean like somebody that's just an absolute cult member?
Yeah.
So this is that guess.
I mean,
before we continue conversation, I do have to thank Ashley so much for the $20 donation over on YouTube Super Chat. Ashley says, I almost lost my life because of an ectopic pregnancy in Florida thanks to the ban. I'm in Florida because we are active duty and the Navy makes us live here. I almost died. I would have died if I did not get my abortion. First and foremost, Ashley, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And this is yet another reason why the decisions of the current fascist regime in Washington, D.C. are so incredibly immoral and so incredibly abhorrent. And I mean, this just makes the lack of a willingness to place that blame and culpability on Trump by a guest such as this cult member all the more detestable.
I would really love to share an experience real quick with you that I went through. In Jacksonville, Florida Memorial Hospital, a 12-year-old girl came in to give birth to her second child. If abortions were good for her, she wouldn't have been in that situation. Why did it happen a second time, first of all? And if abortions were legal then, why wouldn't she have been able to get one?
So you're asking us why it happened a second time? It's because she got raped twice.
Right. But if abortions were if she could have gotten an abortion, none of this would have happened. She wouldn't be in there. I'm sorry.
Do you know that there's
really got to be specific with my words?
Do you know that there's 60 impregnated rape victims that tried to get an abortion and are denied access to service every single day in America, 12 American states have total abortion bans, meaning that not even great victims could access health care. And because of that, 60 great victims every single day are denied access to health care. And that includes children like that 12-year-old girl.
Right.
All right?
What
And
terrifies
here's the
me-
thing, is the only reason why that's happening in America today is because Donald Trump instructed the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump is directly to blame for 60 great victims per day being denied access to abortion and forced to give birth.
One thing that we all do not even think about today, all the children that are in sex trafficking, they are getting pregnant and having babies. Those babies are going straight towards, guess what? Guess what they're going to be like dedicated to? Those babies aren't going to go anywhere. They're not going to have a social security number. Like why? I don't
confused
understand
what you're
why
saying
they're
right
wanting
now.
to abort. I'm sorry?
I said I'm confused what you're saying right now.
Okay.
Like I'm so like what?
Can you elaborate on your confusion?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what was the point of that.
Well, he's talking about
What was the relevance to what Dean said? Do you remember what Dean said? Because I mean, that was such a huge pivot that I can't even remember what Dean just said.
You have to explain things like a good 4 times to her. But I would also like to really thank Michaela. Thank you for the $3 on PayPal. Saudi with a 5. And then Kano, thank you once again for the $20. Then Leonard with the $4 and Evie with a 1. And then also Lisa. Oh my gosh, Lisa. Thank you so much for the $40 over on Venmo. Thank you, Lisa. 400 Lisa W's. Lisa says she liked a video of unaliving protesters to make sure she saves it for future research. Makes complete sense. That's why I let you guys make your determination about what you thought about what she had said. And that's why I then led it directly into a conversation about why she thinks killing fetuses is wrong. Thank you for the $40, Lisa. And then Shayla with the $5 on PayPal. And then Thom, thank you so much for the $25 over on Venmo, saying, spent the day marching in the rain here in NYC. Thom, you're a legend. I actually spent about half of my day protesting down here in Grand Junction, Colorado. I actually even spoke in front of a crowd of a couple hundred people and posted a video of it on my Instagram if anyone wants to go check out a clip of some of my thoughts. But yeah, if you're watching and you want to support me, you could find the Venmo and the PayPal and the link tree in my bio. 100% of the proceeds over there. You could also find it in the pinned message over on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, I'd highly suggest you, if you are going to donate on Venmo and PayPal compared to Super Chat. On Super Chat, I only get like 30 to 60% of the revenue. But I get 100% on PayPal in Venmo. But anyways, Parker, honestly, I'd love to pass the mic off to you. I feel like you are probably itching for some debates.
Really itching for some, bro. I
need
haven't
to
had some in a few
clarify.
days.
I am pro-abortion. I don't know why you're thinking that I'm against.
You're the one that wanted to debate me on abortion. I can't make this up. You can't make this
Only
up.
because a lot of people don't know about the a law he passed with the IFE, IVF,
If you
whatever. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna pass the mic off to Parker.
It's Parker's turn.
But like Jesus Christ, there's so many things. I'm just gonna let Parker say it. But before I do, Amelia, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, and AJ with the $10 as well. Everybody, let's get 1,000 W Amelias and AJs. Thank you guys so much for the love. But go ahead, Parker. Although I'm itching to make some points, I bet you're itching harder than I am. So take it away.
Who won the 2020 election? Well, okay. All right. Well, good start to my first debate. Back, everyone. This is incredible. Casey, thank you for the $20 for welcome back. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Casey. Thank you. Appreciate the $20. As well as Gabriella, thank you for the $5. Parker, thank you so much for the $30. They said, happy birthday, King. My birthday's not until the 7th, by the way, everyone. A lot of people were thinking it's my birthday today. No, my birthday's the 7th. And then
Hey,
Jay, thank you so much. I appreciate the $5.
Bite, you're muted. But Devin, thank you so much for the $20 donation over. Their name is Bite. Bite, you are muted.
Oh, okay.
But then also Devin with a $20 donation over on Venmo. Let's get 200 W Devins. That is DEVYN down below in that chat. Devin says, thank you for everything that you do. You're making a huge impact every day. You give me hope for the future. Devin, that is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. Huge shout out to Devin.
As well as Sierra, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. We're so glad you're back. Super cool, nice girl. Thank you for the $12 for King. And Gabriella, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. I'll have to look. By the bold, who won the 2020 election?
I'm sorry.
Who won the 2020 election?
Biden did.
Why did you just have your literal fucking child whisper that into your ear?
She didn't.
I heard it. I heard your literal child whisper Biden into
Why
your
would
ear.
I not know who won the 2020 election?
You're asking the wrong person. I have no clue why you don't know who won the 2020 election.
I voted during the 2020 election. I know who won.
I'm just saying, like, that is like
Who rightfully won? Do you think that it was stolen? Like, do you think Trump's lost the election because it was stolen?
Because of the what?
Do you think the 2020 election was stolen?
In all honesty, controversial, very controversial, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Only because there was a very high increase with immigration and I mean, Kamala really wasn't the best candidate.
Kamala?
I mean,
Wait, so there was a high
Kamala,
increase in
I'm sorry,
immigration
what
under
was that?
Trump's presidency?
I'm sorry?
There was a high increase in immigration under Trump's presidency? Because Trump lost after he was president for 4
No,
years.
yeah, I'm thinking about what was happening during. So
What?
no, I don't know what would have. I question it. I question whether it was supposed to be. But you know what? It is what it is. That's in the past now. I'm not going to reflect back on the past. Today is today, and I don't want to sound like Kamala right now. Ew.
Kamala. So again, what you're not understanding is that your view there is like totally incoherent. Like you literally just said there was a greater level of immigration that led to more voters, leading to a steal of the election because of immigration in 2020 comparative to 2016. Which 2016?
Yeah, no, I messed up. I was because in 2022, I was thinking 2022 was whenever the increase had went. I believe that was supposed to be
that was after the election.
I was confused. I was thinking differently.
Really? I mean, I really don't know how what'd you confuse it with?
What an election? Just an election. So
Yeah,
2020.
but that happened after. I was asking you why the 2020s election was
Right.
stolen.
I'm sorry. My time was just off at that point. I don't know how it would have been stolen. I actually have video of a lady who was doing the ballots that said that it was stolen. This video continuously gets
some
taken
random
off
person.
of the internet. I'm sorry?
So some random person just says it. It probably gets taken off the internet because it's misinformation. It's just a person saying it.
She was the one that was actually in doing the ballots. She
So, okay.
physically did them herself.
Really?
She went into
what's her
Congress.
name? What's her name?
I don't know her name, but I still have the video.
You saw it on Facebook? Did you see
I
it
have
on
the video.
Facebook? Let me ask you the question. Where did you see the video?
I don't know. This was like 2-3 years ago.
Okay, what social medias did you use 2 to 3 years ago?
I use all kinds. I do not stick with one. This is not my
I bet she was using.
I do this. I do YouTube. I go on the
Were
internet.
you using Truth Social through DuckDuckGo?
Never been on that website.
You
Nope.
throw on the Wait, you want to use a VPN? You probably think they're controlled.
I would
by
put
China.
money on the fact that it was Facebook.
Yeah,
I don't even use Facebook.
I'd put money on Telegram.
No. I actually do. I go on to like.
Do you watch Fox
Gov.
News? Where do you get this information from? I'm actually genuinely serious.
I go to the SEC website. I go to the White House website.
The White House website, the SEC, the White House website. Are you talking about the archives? That's written by the Trump
No,
administration.
it's not just the archives. It's actually what presidents do.
Well, wait. So do you want to look at the Biden White House archive? Because
Well, I
that one
didn't
looks pretty good for Biden. How would you agree with that?
How would it look?
Because
Good
the
for
White House.
Biden? The very first petition or executive order.
I
That
have a question.
signed-
The White House, the SEC. Who do you think do they think that Trump or Biden won the 2020 election?
Nobody really knows. Do you know
Nobody
if
knows.
anybody
Really?
knows
Like
for
they
sure?
don't know? Really?
Obviously, Biden stepped in.
Biden stepped in. No, but like they don't know who won.
Biden obviously won. Was it legitimate or not? No one knows.
No, I'm talking about legitimately. They don't know who legitimately won.
Obviously, Biden won.
Legitimately. I'm talking about legitimately under your view.
I don't understand what you're trying to get out of me because I've already told you that I do not think that it was a legitimate win. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm asking you about that.
Oh, okay. Are you looking for a different answer?
Any answer would be great.
I said that I don't think that it was a legitimate win, but he still won. We had to deal with it, and now his reign.
So are you
is
saying
done.
that the judges, are the court cases, the audits, the respective like sources like AP News, Reuters, NPR, PBS, they have no clue who won the 2020 election legitimately?
10. Thank you for the $10.
I'm pretty sure they would have counted some numbers, but do you know that Russia and other countries are also involved in the elections?
Guys,
Oh, really? How so? Wait, can she tell me how Russia's involved in the elections?
well, I mean,
There's a lot of propaganda, first of all. And yes, they do.
What
they are
propaganda is Russia pushing? Can you tell me?
Dual citizenships.
Wait, no, hold
First
up.
of all.
What propaganda is Russia pushing?
Oh God, it's so stupid.
well, I mean,
Oh yeah, I agree. What specifically?
You know, maybe I shouldn't even brought that up.
It's pro-Trump.
That's just,
ma'am, it's pro-Trump.
it's
propaganda.
embarrassing for me to even.
You're actually
talk about.
right. Russia has interfered in the last 3 elections. That's been proven.
And
by the
it's
DOD,
to support Trump.
the CIA. Like that's not a conspiracy.
Well,
theory,
it's
but
been proven, but how can I
To
say
push
it's been proven?
pro-Trump
I do not
propaganda.
I don't have evidence.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You have evidence from the DOD, the CIA, and the DOJ on top of leaked Kremlin documents. Yes, you do. We have so much
Okay.
evidence. But hey, Parker, you want to see some crazy shit real quick?
Yeah.
Ask this guess if Donald Trump intentionally crashing the stock market is bad.
Oh, boy.
Oh, okay. Well, I did want to talk about this. Before we do, let me say thank you to a few people. Sid, thank you for the $100 YouTube super chat. Thank you so much for my fave back. Thank you so much, Sid. I really appreciate it. Pillar, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it, Pillar. Thank you. And Evan, thank you so much for the $50 for you and Dean are patriotic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. No, I don't think we're more patriotic than you, but thank you so much, Evan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. W's for Evan.
I want to kick this guest, but like seriously, before you do, just ask her.
Yeah,
that
I wanted to talk to her about this.
Just
specific
ask
thing.
that. Just ask her. I'm telling you, ask her. Ask
Okay.
her.
Okay. Bite the bullet. Do you think it's wrong for Trump to intentionally crash the markets?
It is wrong for him to intentionally crash the markets.
Oh, she came
but
around.
but listen, there is a different agenda by that. Just like
okay. What is he trying to do by crashing the markets?
if you I want to bring this to your attention because a lot of people don't know this either. If you look at a ticker, U1, UONE. If you go and look at that skyrocketed thousands of percent. It skyrocketed because a black guy was killed in 2021. I'm not sure. I don't remember his name.
What the hell are you talking about? I'm asking you, what is the reasoning why Trump crashed the stock market?
Because it's not just Trump that's crashing it.
It is. It absolutely is.
Let me.
He's the one who did the executive
There are
orders.
so many
Do you know? Wait, I just want to go over this for 1 second. Do you know how Donald Trump and the White House calculated the tariffs that other countries put on us? Do you want to know? It is
Sure, yeah, tell me.
unbelievable. It's not based upon the taxes on goods imported into the country. No, they based it on like trade deficit and like the trade deficit divided by the level of imports. What the fuck? What the hell? Why are you dividing those two numbers to get the amount of tariff? That doesn't even make any sense. What is a tariff? Donald Trump, the White House have no clue what a tariff is. The Trump administration dropped that document. Charlie Kirk dropped that document on X and on Twitter. And they didn't take 1 second to look into the math that they used to calculate those tariffs? Are you telling me they're that ridiculous? Imagine if Democrats did that. Imagine if under any of their administrations, they did something like this. What would be on Fox News? Can you fucking imagine?
After this, can we move on?
What do you mean? What can I imagine for it?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Like, what do you think would have happened if this happened under Biden's administration? They would have been talking about how he's cognitively declined, how he's literally insane, how he's destroying the country. But no, if Trump does it, then there's some reason that justifies it. He's doing it on purpose to literally create an investor's market. You know what I mean? He wanted to crash the economy so that more people would invest.
So that's a very interesting point of view, and I would like to hear more about it, because from my point of view, it all has to go back towards the Federal Reserves and the percentage and the interest rates that they give to the government.
We're repeating.
How is that different with either administration?
We're repeating now. I already went over this with you, Bite. We already talked about this, Bite.
He's asking me a question about him.
How is it
tanking
different
the
under
stocks.
either administration? They have the same chairman of the Fed under either administration. There's no difference. The reason why the interest rates went up was a counter response to inflation. The reason why they haven't decreased as much was because of the supposed tariffs. But now, because there's been a major crash in the economy, you're right, they might decrease. But that's not for a good reason. That's a horrible reason for them to decrease. That he crashed the markets.
Do you think that...
Dude, people lost like 10% of their net worth plus. I'm serious.
The Barstool,
like literally in like 2-3 days, they lost 10% of their net worth.
The Barstool guy, Dave Portnoy, he lost $7 million.
Dude, that's insane. Like, you have to be serious. They voted for Donald Trump because they didn't want to pay 4% on their income over 400K. But then they lost 10% of their net worth in like a few days, and they're not regretting their votes.
So, I mean,
can you imagine how delusional these people are?
Depending on their investments, some even more than 10%.
I would love to
Annie,
have
thank
more-
you so much for the $10 super chat over on YouTube. Amber, thank you so much for the 5. Then Linda with a 10 as well, saying, how do you keep a straight face for so long? It's because I'm sick of their shit. Thank you for the love, Linda. And then also Patsy, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Everybody, please show some love to Linda, Patsy, Annie, and Amber.
I'm not happy practically anyone lost their net worth, but Aiden Ross. I heard he lost 25% of his net worth. Good. W. You got what he voted for.
Well, then, if that's the truth, then how is Trump making the rich rich?
Dude,
he lost.
I've been running this argument since he announced his tariffs.
It's not an argument. It's a debate. And actually,
I've been running this. Oh, yeah, she got flagged for civic and election integrity. I've been running this position as a troll ever since he announced his tariffs. That he's gonna crash the stock market, and then the Republicans are gonna say that it's redistributing wealth from rich people to poor people. As 99% of investors are top of the top 1%. I've been running this meme for like over a month.
That's really
now.
funny.
Kayla, what's up? Do you support Trump? Also, I don't know. I don't think the life's pushing anymore. If you're
It could be me.
I don't know. It's fine though. I mean, I don't care. I'd actually rather just debate with you, even with like a capped live, than not. So, yeah, that's what it is.
It's so unfortunate.
I mean, it's also possible that like this is the first life back on this account because this just got off of a 3-day ban. I mean, usually the first life back doesn't perform that well. But if you're one of the 6.6 thousand people in here on TikTok, guys, make sure that we're double tapping. Enrica, thank you so much for the glowing jellyfish. We are going to go and get that next guest up in the box right now. If you are in that queue, make sure that you support the president. We are just looking for some debates as we speak. If you would like to support me, support the studio, keep the daily show running for 4 hours. Did I just kick Parker? I did. Oops. Getting Parker back up here. If you would like to support me, you could find the link to my Venmo as well as my PayPal in the link tree in the bio where I get 100% of the proceeds. And I could give you a shout out, and you could even attach a message to be read off on stream. I apologize for kicking you, Mr. Parker. Do you have moderation?
That was
access?
brutal. I don't think that I do. Yeah.
Word. I mean, we got a guest to load in. What's going on, Carrie? Did you vote for Trump?
I would never vote for a monster like Trump.
Based Carrie, I want to be you when I grow up. Okay, I want to be you when I grow up. We're going to move on to the next guest. We got Amber loading into the live. Here we go. All right. Moving on to the next guest.
Kathy, thank you so much for the $50 YouTube super chat. Thank you so much for keeping up the good work. You are needed out there. Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. Can we get some W's for Kathy in the comment section right now? Thank you for the $50 YouTube super chat.
And then Sella, thank you for the $20 donation over on PayPal. Sella says here again, by the way, it's pronounced Selah. Very beautiful name. Selah. Everybody, please show some love to Selah. Down below in that comment section, that is SELAH. Thank you for the $20. Selah. What is up, Amber? Do you support Trump? All right, well, she just left. Oh, what's going on with the live? Like the
How long have you been live today?
Close to 3 hours, maybe a little over. But the viewership is just going. Oh, I did. The viewership is just like going down by like 100 people like every minute or two.
You think it's me?
Probably, or probably not. I mean, I don't know. It's all pseudoscience at the end of the day. Millie, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Hi, Dean. Hi, Parker. I do not support Trump, but I've been watching y'all for.
Millie, you're awesome. Based. We're gonna go get that next guest, Mr. John, up in the stream. Here we go. All right. TikTok hates Parker? Bro, they do. They're so unfair to
Bro,
him.
I don't know what it is. I literally left for that long and they still are doing it.
Yeah, TikTok
Crazy.
hates Parker, man. TikTok hates Parker. They be on his
L
ass.
TikTok for that one.
Be on his ass. Next guest is loading in, guys. Go ahead and spam maggot down below in the chat if you do want to join up. What is up, Dino? Do you support Trump?
Dinosaur? Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
Oh my god. Why'd you do it?
Why did I do it? Because I don't feel that Kamala could distinguish herself from the prior administration.
Well, I'm pretty sure that she just straight up says that she is pretty aligned with the Biden-Harris administration. And I mean, they passed great domestic policy. So I don't see why distinguishment would be super necessary.
I think, if you don't mind me pivoting in this, but I think if we get on terms of something we agree on, then we can have a more prosperous debate. So let's talk about abortion.
So you're not going to respond to what he just said?
Oh, what was your question?
What did he just say?
I'm asking for the question. I was talking.
What did Dean just say to you?
I'm asking for the question. I don't know. I was talking.
You don't know? Okay, that's my point. David, thank you for the $10 YouTube super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Kathy, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much again, Kathy. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Can you ask your question?
Yeah, for sure, man. Once again, the question is, if you're making the statement that the reason you voted for Trump and did not like Harris was because she didn't distinguish herself from the Biden-Harris administration, my response to that would be, I guess it's not really a question as much as it is a response, is just the simple fact that I don't believe that distinguishment would be super necessary. I feel as if she would to run on a continuancy of the last administration, that'd be A-okay with me, because they didn't really pass much bad policy, man. Like the only times I really disagreed with the Biden-Harris administration was on foreign affairs in the context of Israel and Palestine. But even there, I mean, Trump was worse. So, like, what is one bad policy that you think the Biden-Harris administration passed that she should have gotten away from?
I think it was important to move away from an approval rating from a previous administration that was very low. And if she couldn't distinguish herself from that approval rating that was very low nationally, it wasn't going to be well off for her in the election.
So yeah, so you're making a completely different claim here, because now you're just indicating us to us a reason why she lost. And actually, I might even grant your claim some credence here. They associated her with the incumbency and basically, held to the claim that therefore they caused the inflation onset by the pandemic. That's a fine argument. But I'm not asking you why Kamala Harris lost. I'm asking you why Kamala Harris was worse than Trump. All right, and Kamala Harris having a low approval rating does not indicate how good or bad of a candidate she was.
I didn't necessarily say she had the low approval rating. I said her previous administration did.
That does not make her a bad candidate, though, as I believe that the Biden-Harris administration was very successful and very good.
Okay, so what is your question?
Yeah, well, okay. You said that her not distinguishing from the Biden-Harris administration is a bad thing. Well, that'd only be bad if the Biden-Harris administration was bad. So my question to you is, can you name one bad policy that the Biden-Harris administration passed?
I can name the policies that I can name a lot of policies that didn't get passed, regardless of them having House and Congress.
So can you name one policy that they did pass that was bad?
Not necessarily off the top of my head, no. I cannot name a policy that they passed that was necessarily bad.
Oh, so they only passed good policies, and you're still sitting here telling us that that's not what you wanted? You wanted the candidate with a terrible policy, like intentionally crashing the stock market, distancing ourselves from every other country on earth, or advocating for Trump Gaza?
I would like to go on to your argument of Trump intentionally passing the stock or crashing the stock market. So what is your argument for him intentionally crashing the stock market besides the video post?
Besides the fact that he said it. No, that is my argument. The fact that he said it.
No, because if you understand how stocks work, it's the people that don't agree with his policies that will pull out. Trump didn't pull out any money out of the stock market.
No. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's actually no way you're saying this. Are you telling me him implementing tariffs had nothing to do with the stock market declining?
I'm saying that the people that pulled out of the stock market are the people that didn't.
I want you to answer my question specifically. Can you answer my question? Right? Are you saying that that is not what led to the decrease in the stock market value?
Yes, I am saying.
Oh, you are saying that? So you disagree with practically every economist, right? Who agrees that it is the case that Donald Trump's tariffs explicitly led to the decrease in the stock market, will lead to decrease in wages. Did you want to know something crazy that I actually learned from a conservative economist? Did you know that service sector wages are actually higher than manufacturing sector wages? So what you're doing, if you want to impose a greater portion of the American public to actually manufacturing services comparative to service sector, right, you're actually going to decrease their wages. Did you know that?
But your argument is that Trump intentionally crashed the stock market. And I'm asking for how, besides his policy, the policy that...
Dude, what? I'm sorry. I can't even take that seriously. Dude, I literally thought about this. I was like, dude, I'm going to be so nice to the people on the live. I can't even take that seriously, dude.
Parker.
How am I supposed to take that statement seriously?
Parker, so MAGA, from before you left for your trip until now coming back from your trip has completely reshaped itself. It is 110% different.
Dean, I was going to say, I left for 3 fucking days. And you want to know what happened in that 3 days?
MAGA completely more.
The entire economy crashed. I was looking at the TV, and I was in Iowa, and on Fox News, they had the fucking literal for the day S&P down like 5 to 10%. Insane. One day. Because this fucking idiot passes tariffs. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying that on the live because I'm going to get myself bananaed. But Dino, come on. That is ridiculous. You cannot stand behind that. I can't even believe.
Dude, Parker, it's embarrassing. MAGA has completely...
That is embarrassing. That is totally embarrassing, dude. Like, please stop doing this to our country.
I
know you think that you're making the country better. But dude, when other countries, people from other countries look at this, they're like, dude, is being smart illegal in America? I literally have seen comments like that. Please. Is it illegal?
If people don't agree with the policies that he's passing, if a portion of those people don't agree with the policies he's passing, they're going to pull their stocks out of the stock market, and thus it will crash.
It has nothing to do with the policy agreement or not. It has everything to do with the fact that there are negative expectations for a market in which there are massive tariffs within. They did fucking tariffs everywhere around the world. Like practically everywhere.
Why did they do those tariffs?
Because Donald Trump is a lunatic.
We actually don't know. So he's actually...
I actually don't even know.
I want to expand on that answer because it just points out the fact that Donald Trump is even crazier than you might think he is. Because he's announced like different motivations that contradict one another. So one motivation he set forth is he's placing reciprocal tariffs on other countries to negotiate down their tariffs on us.
Yes, and they're not reciprocal.
Another motivation he'd set forth is to like strengthen American manufacturing because the tariffs will obviously shift our reliance more so to American produced goods. But these two ideas that he set forth to motivate his tariffs are contradictory. Because if, Donald Trump is just a 8D chess master that is really good at the art of the deal and is able to successfully negotiate down tariffs that other countries have imposed on us, then he lets off on the tariffs on them. Well, then all of a sudden we don't have tariffs to protect our manufacturing.
Okay.
And if he wants tariffs to protect our manufacturing, then he's not going to be able to negotiate down the tariffs that any other countries have on us. Since
can I ask you a question about the trade deficit?
The trade deficit is not a bad
thing.
No.
Can I
wait before you do, Dean? Before you do, these are reciprocal tariffs. Okay, those penguins need to be paying the same tariffs that they are making us pay. I mean, those penguins better be paying tariffs.
I understand that a country with only penguins got hit with a tariff. Yes, but that's not my point.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of shell companies that operate off of that company to kind of bypass restrictions on trade. But it's
not
so
imports,
fucking
though.
funny.
It's not. There's zero imports.
Okay.
There are zero imports and exports.
You know what?
So it has nothing to do with it. Yeah,
you're right.
I know that makes like that.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
island's not exporting anything to us.
Yeah, like what are they exporting?
Yeah, you're right. Smart motherfucker.
It's not so much that the island is importing goods into our country. It's the shell companies that are quite literally based.
Yeah, but they're not exporting the goods from that. They're not exporting the goods from the country.
The tariff works by the company is based in a country, so then the tariff gets applied to that based on the country that is.
Wait, I have a question.
But through that country there are no exports.
Parker,
anything.
Check this. He's arguing that they could just have the shell company set up in the country. They don't need to actually physically be there to bypass the export. So here's my claim: doesn't this mean that every other country on the face of the planet could just create a shell company in America?
No, because we don't have. You're not allowed to, unless you're an American citizen. You can't buy land unless you have.
So Dino, let me inform you. Let me inform you how is that the tariff is going to be paid, right? By like to like customs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what? How are they going to be doing that if there's no exports?
Also, your claim's false.
Through that country.
You could buy land in America as a non-American citizen.
You can't set up your shell company in America not being an American citizen.
Yes, you can. What?
How can you do that?
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you saying that you can't do business in America or
You can't
set
be
up
an
a
American-
company?
A quote unquote shell company in America without being an American citizen? No.
Okay, what do you mean by shell company?
What is a shell company? You know exactly what a shell company is, and I'm saying you cannot own a shell company.
He's never going to answer the question, is he? What's a shell company?
So there's actually-
how are you using it?
By the
A
way,
shell company is a
I
company
just wanna
that
make it
is
clear.
used basically, in a sense, to maneuver money.
I just want to make it
another
clear.
company.
Can you please
It is
name-
used to. It's a way of laundering money to some extent, but in a more.
Well, I don't think he can clarify. Go ahead, Dean.
Could you please name like a single federal or state law requiring ownership to be held by citizens?
It's in the law to be an
It's
American
not.
citizen
What law?
to hold a
What
shell
law?
company
What law?
in America.
What law? Because it's not a
Like,
law.
Can you tell me a law that
Wait,
prevents it?
you're the one claiming that there. You are the one claiming that there is a law.
Yeah, and by
Dean
the way,
isn't claiming anything.
We don't
cannot
write
have a-
laws to allow things. Like there isn't like some like federal bureaucrat that is allowing Dean Withers to stream on YouTube. And I mean like this is actual common knowledge. All that I would suggest you do is stop talking, go to Google, literally type in, can you own an American company without being an American citizen? You'll have like 10 pages of search results affirming that.
Okay, and then why not? Okay, then let me ask.
Okay, I know. I want to go back to something you said earlier because you started talking about trade deficits. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think trade deficits are bad?
Yes.
Okay, so a trade surplus is good.
Exports are good. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question. At what point in American history were we at one of the largest trade surpluses ever?
We were never the exporters. No.
We were at a trade surplus during the Great Depression.
So we were exporting more goods, correct?
We were exporting more than we were importing during the Great Depression. Wow.
So
wow.
then
Wow,
how did
that's
we get
great.
out of the Great Depression?
And what was it? Like a world war, right? Anyways, not relevant. Trade deficits are not bad. Okay. The reason why trade deficits are not bad is because a trade deficit is nothing more than a tool for accountants. Okay. Obviously, we're going to have a trade deficit with nearly every other country on the face of the planet. And there's a couple reasons why. The predominant reason is, well, that America is the richest country on earth. We account for 30% of global commerce. Because we account for 30% of global commerce and we are the richest country on earth, of course, we will be buying more from other places than they buy from us. Additionally, we have like 340 million Americans. And when we compare that to a majority of other countries that have less citizens than we do, just by raw data, even if we were not the richest country on earth, we would still expect to be buying more from other countries than they buy from us. I mean, think about Canada. 44 million Canadians, 340 million Americans. You do the math. Who's going to be buying more from whom? We're going to be buying more from them than they buy from us. And
But
that's not a bad
countries
thing.
are flourishing without a trade deficit, correct?
No, when we didn't have a trade deficit, when we were in a trade surplus in the Great Depression, were we flourishing?
I'm asking you how the other countries are flourishing.
When you
without a
said
trade deficit.
when you said let's make America great again, I didn't know you were referencing the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm. And then also, you're asking me about how other countries are flourishing without a trade deficit. Who's flourishing the most? Whose economy is the biggest?
America's by volume.
Thank you.
So you're saying we have to have a trade deficit in order to
No,
stay
I'm not.
above
No.
inflation?
Don't give me a red herring. I'm not saying that we have to have a trade deficit. I'm just saying that a
Okay.
trade deficit's not a bad thing.
Are we saying can we go to a country that doesn't have a trade deficit? Can we become a country that does not have a trade deficit?
I don't know. Who cares?
Wait, can you tell me what a trade deficit is, Dino?
It means we are quite literally importing more than we are exporting. That is a trade deficit.
Okay. So, to clarify, what's wrong with us importing more than we're exporting?
Well, what's wrong with us exporting more than we're importing?
For example, that would reduce the supply of oil in the United States for American consumers. If you actually kept more of that oil in the United States, you'd become more energy independent. But what you want is American companies to send the oil around the world, and you want the United States to be less energy independent?
I want us to produce more oil to then be able to export the oil, yes.
Okay, but then it's not in the United States, and it makes it more expensive for American consumers. If you kept it in the United States for American consumers, the price for oil for American consumers would be lower, therefore making
that
us
is
more
not
energy
true.
independent. But you want us to be less energy independent because you want to export our goods around the world?
Quite literally, having a surplus of oil and being allowed to export it does not make us energy inefficient or energy. What was
Oh,
the
okay,
term?
okay. So to clarify, you want to export as much as we possibly can, right?
Wait,
I want us to have a increase in production to be able to export these goods, to be allowed to.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know there will be actually a smaller size of the economy given that these tariffs have been implemented. You know that, right? The economy took a nosedive.
Boom. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and the Atlanta Fed went from projecting 4% growth in our GDP 2 weeks later, negative 2.8. 2 weeks later, negative 3.7. And that's before Liberation Day. In fact, I'm going to see what their projections are now. JP Morgan.
It's probably even worse. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. JP Morgan is officially predicting a recession in the fiscal year of 2025. Our economy is shrinking, and that is all because we're trying to achieve this great trade surplus, which once again, I will make it clear, the last time we had one of these great trade surpluses was when? During the Great Depression.
So every other country you're saying can thrive without a trade deficit except America. Why are we the only country that is incapable of thriving under exporting?
Dino. There being an existence of a trade deficit is not indicative of a bad relationship. Okay, you know that, right?
So why can't we have
Wait. Do you affirm or deny that? Do you affirm or deny the statement that a trade deficit is not a bad thing?
I can agree with that. Yes.
Okay. So then, why do you want to advocate for policy that has bad outcomes, such as causing a recession, such as wiping $4 trillion off the stock market, such as redistributing wealth from poor people to rich people, if where our country exists today is at a stronger point with trade deficits? That's not a bad thing.
I'm saying we can be a flourishing country without trade deficits.
Wait, I'm saying that the policy that you are advocating for to get rid of the trade deficits is not making us into a flourishing country. In fact, it's destroying our economy.
Because we don't.
Wait, I have a question. Wait. What if we wait? Hold up. What if we just produce more and then keep that in the United States instead of just sending it around the world?
Then we wouldn't have a trade deficit anymore, and our country would flourish.
Okay. Well, then you don't want to increase exports.
I do. Of course I do.
Okay, you do want to increase exports. Did you know that actually implementing tariffs like what Donald Trump did on Liberation Day actually led to a decrease in exports? You want to know why it led to a decrease in exports? Because retaliatory tariffs. Countries now have placed tariffs on the United States because Donald Trump did that. Because it was not an actual reciprocal tariff. And it was a bullshit number that Donald Trump and his cronies created to manufacture consent, particularly for massive tariffs around the entire world to get people like you that have low education, low information voting, right, and engagement with politics to literally support it. I'm sorry it's not an efficient debate tactic for you. I'm telling you the truth. And the truth you might not always like. You might not. The truth sometimes, I'm just going to let you know, the truth sometimes is uncomfortable. The truth sometimes is not going to be the nicest thing for you to believe in.
You're calling
what
me
I'm telling you is the truth because it's going to make you better off. Okay?
I'm simply saying, why can't we in America operate without a trade deficit?
Because it's not good economics for America, given that we are the richest country in the history of the world. And it is the case that there are countries around the world, not as rich as us, that produce goods that we want, materials we want, crops and agricultural goods we want and need. Right? And we don't want to put massive tariffs on them because it is the case that we want their products because they have a comparative advantage for producing their products. Welcome to a globalized society, a global world where it is the case that we benefit from the products made by countries around the world. And if you want to pay more for the tablet and for the phone that you have, if you want to pay more for the car that you have, if you want to pay more for the house that you have, if you want to pay more for the groceries that you buy at the grocery store, if you want to pay more for the gas that you get at the gas station, well, then continue to support Donald Trump because that's all he's doing. He's increasing the prices of your basic consumer products to give tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. He's fucking you over for the rich, and you're just voting for it. You're like, please.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Is being in a non-trade deficit country a bad thing?
It's not a good or bad thing necessarily. It depends on the structure of your economy. Would it be bad to force our economy into that? Yes, it would be bad. For fireworks, because our economy works better when we have trade deficits.
Are
right?
we
Because in order to enforce there not being a trade deficit, you would have to stop getting goods that American consumers want to buy from countries around the world that have better materials, better products for the same price or cheaper. Okay. There are some goods that other countries in the world make better than us because of climate conditions, because of culture, because of and plenty of environmental conditions.
That's
how
is
the
there a
market
way
works.
that you can give me to make America not in trade deficits?
Oh, dude, I'm so fucking
Dude,
annoyed.
this guy is like, actually, are you trolling?
Hey,
There's no
I'm-
way
I'm
you're saying
asking
this.
you a question.
Can I take
You're
the mic
saying
real
it's a
quick?
bad
There's no
idea.
way you're saying
Can
it.
I take the mic real quick?
Yes.
Who's better for the economy, Trump or Harris?
Trump.
So let me make this clear. What economic policy did Kamala Harris run on that was projected to send America into a recession?
Her policies weren't. See, she had good policies, but her policies weren't better than Trump's. That's why I voted for Trump.
So what policy did she run on that would have sent America into a recession? Name
What
it.
policy did? If I'm not mistaken,
You were about to ask me what policy did Trump run on? I'll tell you.
Yes.
Blanket tariffs.
Okay.
So now you tell me
why
the
did we
policy
have
of
a
Kamala.
recession during-
No. Now you tell me the policy of Kamala Harris.
Again, I'm going to say this correctly.
I don't want anything but either yes, Dean, I can tell you the policy and here it is.
No, because
or
that,
no,
that
Dean,
is
I can't.
that is quite literally forcing a debate. That is forcing.
I'm forcing you to give an answer in which is in the available answer selections. There is literally no other answer to the question, what policy did she run on that would have sent America into a recession, apart from Dean, here's the name of the policy, or Dean, there isn't any policy. So which one is it?
So I didn't read every single one of Kamala Harris's policies. That
So you're
she
unaware of any policy that she ran on that would have sent America into a recession?
I know that she tried to give the American people more money in their pocket in a blank check than Trump.
Oh,
I
so
do
that's
know that.
actually false too, because Donald Trump ran on $4.5 trillion to $8.4 trillion worth of tax cuts, disproportionately for wealthy people. Meanwhile, she only ran on $2.8 trillion. So the claim that she wanted to give more money back to the American people is actually false. But the money she wanted to give back to the American people was specifically to low and middle class workers, not the top 3%. Now, back to my question. Can you name any policy that Kamala Harris ran on that would have sent America into a recession? Yes or no?
We don't know what policy she would have actually enacted.
That she ran on.
You can run on a policy.
So
all you want,
I'm
but
going to
it's not
ask you the
enacted
question
policy.
once again, yes or no. Can you name a single policy she ran on that would have sent America into a recession?
We don't know how her policies would have affected.
I want an answer. Is there a single policy you name that was that Kamala Harris ran on that was projected to run America into a recession? I want a yes or a no. Right now you're getting grilled. You could very easily stop getting grilled by just answering the question. You don't know how much you're embarrassing yourself right now. This is a bad look, Dino. I will ask the question one last time. Once again, the bad look is you refusing to answer the question, but that's also a bad look.
I didn't
So
refuse
once
to
again,
answer the
yes,
question.
you
I already
did.
did.
The question is,
did.
can
I
you
told you I
name
don't know her
a single
policies,
one of
Amber.
Kamala Harris's policies that was projected to run America into a recession?
And I'm telling
yes
you,
or no?
I already answered your question.
So the answer is no,
I said
right?
I did not read her exact policies.
So the
no.
answer is no. So why would you say that Donald Trump has better economic policy than Kamala Harris when you do know Trump policy that's running America into a recession, but you don't know Harris policy that's running America into a
So
recession?
why did we go into a recession during Biden and Harris's campaign? Why did we go into a recession then?
Great question. The
And if you're
answer
gonna
to your
just say
question,
COVID, then that's not the answer.
The answer to your question was A, I don't think we technically did go into a recession.
Well, you
But
can
B,
rewrite the
Dino,
definition of
if
recession,
you are
but
the
we were in a
definition of a
recession.
recession is 2 financial quarters with negative GDP growth.
In which we did have.
If you allow me to answer the question, that would be great. Okay.
Wonderful.
If we did have 2 financial quarters under the Biden-Harris administration with negative GDP growth, it is the case that it was caused by the pandemic, not the policy of the Biden-Harris administration. I would like to clarify the question you're asking me is a pivot. Because my question to you was, why would you say that Trump ran on better economic policy than Harris when you can name Trump policy that's sending America into a recession, but you can't name Harris policy that's sending America, that would have sent America into a recession?
Because yours is a would have argument. Mine is, yeah, he's currently in president, so he can enact his policies.
They were
And you can
both
see the outcome of
what?
his policies.
What?
Wait, can I just let them know that there was 2 quarters of negative economic growth under the Biden-Harris administration, but many economists talked about this because it is the case that there wasn't an increase in unemployment, right? Like if there would have been a massive increase in unemployment if it was the case that we were in a recession, right? That's why they were indicating that that's probably not the best indicator for a recession, and that's why they're revising that indicator for a recession.
But the indicator for a recession is 2 quarters going down, correct?
That was the prior indicator, but that prior indicator
why-
has been revised by
You should
economists.
be able to
Can I please
change
finish?
the prior indicator just because.
Why? Because it
you
is the
don't wanna
case that
say we're in a
it's not
recession.
it's not actually explaining when there's going to be a recession. Because
If there's
in that
a-
circumstance,
and there's a
economists
dip.
agreed that there was not a recession made because there was not a respective increase in unemployment rate.
But many economists did agree that there was a recession. There's a few economists that did agree that we weren't.
How about this?
Who?
How about this?
Who?
Operating off of the definition of recession as 2 financial quarters consecutive with negative GDP growth, there was a recession. However, Parker is basically saying that there's other macroeconomic indicators that were not indicative of a recession. And this led many economists to agree that we should revise our definition of the term recession. But with the way you're using the term, there was one. And I don't mind operating off of that for all intents and purposes of this conversation. All right. What I'm asking you is very simple. I asked you, why would you say that Trump has better economic policy than Harris if his would lead to a recession and hers wouldn't? And then your response to that question was to say, well, hers was merely hypothetical because she lost the election. That sentence means nothing. That sentence is shit. That sentence is, quite frankly, dog shit. I mean, wow. I could just say that in 2020, Biden had better economic policy than Trump because apparently Trump's was just hypothetical because he lost the election. Boom.
And that's a fine argument. I use the argument. You're allowed to too.
What?
Oh my God,
Wait,
dude!
wait.
I
So-
can't even.
so this
Are you
isn't-
sentient?
So this isn't even exclusive just to economic policy. Then it applies to all policy. Just the winner of the election is a better candidate because they actually got to introduce their policy. I got a question: who is a better presidential candidate in 2020? Trump or Biden?
The president that won.
And who was a
People
better
wanted-
presidential candidate in 2016? Trump or Hillary?
The president that won.
And who is a better candidate, presidential candidate in 2012?
The president that won. That's the American people. That's what they wanted.
Phenomenal. So in other words, you just think that the most popular candidate is the best candidate.
Is the way that America wants to go, and that's why we're.
All right. So who was the better candidate, Hitler or whoever he ran against?
So if your argument is that their democracy makes. So you're comparing an American democracy to Hitler. That's how far out you're going to go.
I'm comparing
no,
a democratic
not only has
election.
Dean done it, but the vice president of the United States has also done it. I just want to clarify.
Okay.
So your current vice president also compared the current president to Mustache Man.
Okay.
Okay. And also, they were a democracy. That's why this is a perfect explanation, because it is the case that literally Hitler got into that particular position because democracy was absolutely caving out, right? By anti-intellectualism, by propaganda, and by getting people to accept only a certain set of information. If you control the information that people are engaging with, then you can effectively control them.
We
And
actually-
if Donald, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead and finish.
And if Donald Trump can literally control what information people in MAGA are taking into account, regardless of what is actually considered true, he can effectively control everyone within MAGA. And since he is going to be the basis for truth in plenty of these scenarios, because whatever he says goes, and whatever is against him is just fake news, propaganda, mainstream media, conspiracy, deep state that's trying to destroy him, right? For political reasons, because they hate him and they hate this country. Well, then literally, like, you're just going to accept anything he says.
I don't agree with whatever he says. I don't agree with everything he says, and that's false. That's truly false.
So answer my question. It actually wasn't Hitler that won in an election. It was a Nazi party. Hitler was a legal appointment. So who's better, the Nazi party or whoever they ran against?
Is there reasons for why they won?
What?
What are the reasons they won?
Does that matter?
Answer my question.
What do you mean? What are the reasons why they won? We're talking about Nazis, bro.
You're talking about Nazis in a debate about a US
the reasons why the Nazi Party won
Yes.
was because, in accordance with the electoral rules of the Weimar Republic, they had gained a sufficient, vote from the Republic to be appointed as the official state party. So, answer my question: who was
I
better?
think that's not what he's asking. The reason why they won is because of World War One, specifically Germany losing World War One, getting the Versailles Treaty of Versailles, right, and literally having to pay massive levels of debt that led to massive famines that existed within Germany, which Nazis particularly used in order to justify, right, them getting into positions of power because people were disenfranchised, people were looking for strong men, people were looking for answers when the answers did not exist in the people that they knew were starving to death and dying.
Yeah,
and that's what they initially used to get into power. It's propaganda. It's bad times.
So who is better, Dino? The Nazi Party or whoever they ran against?
So again, you're comparing a U.S.
I'm
election.
comparing. Oh, okay. So the most popular party or candidate is only the better candidate in a U.S. republic, not in a non-U.S. republic. See, now this is where your logic is honestly like pitiful at this point.
Our democracies are two different things.
Allow me to finish. Honestly, at this point, your logic is like pitiful. Like I feel secondhand embarrassment for you. You have lost the debate, but you can't come to terms with that because you don't know anything about what it means to be a rational person. You are all about being a right person, okay? And to be the self-proclaimed right person, you must deny any fact, any sense of reason, or any sense of logic that disagrees with your preconceived beliefs, okay? You have a preconceived belief that Donald Trump was a better candidate. I shit on that claim. Parker shits on that claim. So now, in order to maintain the sense of self-righteousness, you must rather say that whoever wins the election is a better candidate, because, well, we can't contest that, until we do by pointing out the fact that the Nazi Party won an election in the Weimar Republic in the state of Germany. Okay? And now you still don't want to concede and be like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you're right. So then you're like, well, the most popular candidate or party is only the better candidate or party if it's an election in the U.S., not outside of the U.S.
Because
our
our democracies are two different things. Our democracies are two different democracies.
Dino. If the Union was against, right, the Confederates in an election and the Confederates won, do you think that the Confederates should have won?
Did you know that the Confederates were on your party's side?
Wait! I want him to answer my question. I never would agree with Confederates.
And I actually disagree.
Those are
with that
conservative
claim.
Democrats.
And what you just claimed was historically wrong, but I want you to answer Parker's questions before I demonstrate how it's historically wrong.
Okay.
So again, if there was an election, right, and it was the Confederates versus the Union, do you and the Confederates won? Do you think the Confederates should have won?
Why would the Confederates have won?
Because
people they got the majority votes,
yes.
Correct? Because they ran a better campaign.
So would the Confederacy have been better than the Union?
The America would definitely be different.
No, that's not what we're asking you. Would the Confederate Party have been better than the Union?
The only way to win an election is to get the majority of votes.
But that's
correct?
not what I'm asking you. If the Confederate Party would have therefore been better than the Union?
Are you calling me and the majority?
I'm asking you a question. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm actually, I'm calling the minority 49.9% of voters who voted for Trump in the election wrong. 51.1 voted against Trump. But anyways, so would you say the Confederate Party? Would you say that the Confederate Party, because to win in the Electoral College or popular vote, you don't need a majority of overall votes. Come on, you just need the most compared to the other candidates. Now, going back to the question, would you therefore say that the Confederate Party was better than the Union? I want a yes or a no. You absolute spineless fool.
Did they win? No. So clearly they weren't better.
You spineless fool. Parker's question was if the Confederate Party were to run against the Union in a free and fair democratic American election and the Confederate Party were to have won, would the Confederate Party be better than the Union?
In America's eyes, in the American people's eyes?
In your eyes.
I'm asking to you.
No, you're trying to solo me out, but I'm not the sole person that votes.
I'm asking you. I'm talking to you. If I wasn't trying to solo you out, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, Dino. Do you want to be back in the comment section if you don't want to be soloed out?
will put you right back there right now. So answer the damn question right now.
Wait, I just want to clarify.
You act like that's a
Dino,
bad thing.
wait, are we? So just to clarify, this isn't a debate between Dean Parker and Dino. This is a debate between Dean and Parker and Dino, who's representing 49.9% of the country. So you're not debating
I don't know
your
where
views.
you're getting that statistic, but
Are you debating your views or not?
if you got 49%, how much did
Dino, are you debating your views or not?
Yes, I am, of course.
Okay, so if you're debating your views, then you're not debating the views of anybody else, only yours. So in your view, if the Confederate Party beat the Union in a free and fair American election, under your view, once again, would the Confederate Party therefore be better than the Union?
Would I be the sole person voting?
No, you are not the sole person voting. You're voting in a free and fair election. I'm asking you, if the Confederate Party were to have won, would the Confederate Party be better? You absolute spineless fool that is embarrassing yourself so badly in front of over 10,000 people. You are making no goddamn sense. You are contradicting yourself every single time you open your mouth. And quite frankly, I'm an environmentalist, and I'm getting to a point where I now want to kick you because the carbon emissions exhibited by you breathing out when you speak words is wasteless and it's nonsensical and there's no point to it. It's only further aiding and abetting and destroying the fucking ozone layer. That is how absolutely useless, absolutely meaningless your statements are. Okay? So get your act together and answer the question. So if the Confederate Party beat the Union in a free and fair democratic election, under your view, would the Confederate Party therefore be better than the Union?
If the American people voted for the Confederate Party, then clearly that's the direction America needed to go.
So America would have needed slavery. Got it.
That's the comparison you can make.
You did not just say, dude. This is this. Okay, I have a question. If Hitler was born in the United, listen.
Your entire argument runs on what ifs. That's not an argument.
Where hypotheticals attest to the logical consistency of your perspective.
So
is that wrong? Is it wrong for us to like debate your positions?
You can debate my positions.
That's what we're doing.
What ifs?
Okay,
what?
So
this isn't just a what if. Do you know what the point of what we're doing right now is?
So
we're testing.
Yes, you're trying to contradict my statement.
We're testing your argument. Logically, that's all we're doing.
So let me.
Of course.
So you didn't pass third grade, right?
I think I passed a few more grades than that.
Okay, well, you used hypotheticals in your third grade math class to better understand the world around you. So why can't you in a debate with Dean and Parker? Are they just too scary for you?
Because your hypotheticals are going on a democracy that doesn't make sense.
Oh, I don't
like this guy.
Dino, I
don't like him.
I feel like you're telling the truth. I feel like you're saying, when you say that what we're saying doesn't make sense to you, I understand that because I don't think anything makes sense to you. How do you function in society?
Genuinely.
How do I function in society?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of the membership subscription.
My points to you, but
George,
you
think of the 50 NMX.
You
somehow figured out how to like get a phone and download TikTok and make an account and join our live, but you can't reason your way to the conclusion that just because a candidate wins the race, it doesn't mean they're better, and you stick to your guns and it ends up leading you into being a Confederate Nazi, and then you stand behind that, and then you act as if we're the crazy ones. You act as if we're the bad faith debaters.
If a person won in a fair election,
do you have anybody at home with you right now? Is your mom home? Is your dad? Obviously, you don't live on your own. Is your mother or father home, sir?
I do live on my own.
No,
thank you.
No, you don't.
Oh my God! If there was a democratic election to do a mandatory vasectomy for Dino, would you support it? Like, no, we democratically voted as a country to like do a mandatory vasectomy of Dino. Like, would you be like that's good? Would you be like that's good?
This is where your political debate has gone.
Oh, this is a great question.
Yeah, he can't answer this question.
Wait,
this is the defeater.
Wait, Parker, ask me the question real quick. I just want to demonstrate to Dino how easy hypotheticals are. Do it.
Yeah, Dean. If there was a democratic election to literally force Dean Withers to have a mandatory vasectomy, would you agree with that position?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
Dino, your turn.
So you're asking me if there was a election to get me to have a vasectomy, would I agree with it?
Yeah. If everyone voted in the United States, literally every person voted to forcefully sterilize you, would you support it?
If everybody voted to deplatform you, would you be okay with it?
Nope.
No.
Your turn.
No, go ahead. Your turn.
So I'm allowed to say no to this?
Yes.
Okay.
Congrats, you just contradicted.
So are you going to say no?
What did it prove?
Are you going to say no, Dino?
I said no. What does it prove?
It proves that you have a completely illogical, inconsistent standard of truth now, because we were able to reduce you down to saying that the only reason Trump was a better presidential candidate than Kamala Harris was because he won the election, which means you think populist support through democratic elections generates the best possible outcomes for society, meaning under the hypothetical that Parker just provided to you, the best possible outcome for society would be you getting a vasectomy, but you're now denying that that's the best possible outcome for society, therefore denying your only argument that you've been able to instantiate insofar as our conversation, that
No,
Donald Trump
because
is a
the
better
only thing that
presidential candidate
supports
than
your
Kamala
argument
Harris.
is a very, very outlandish hypothetical.
Oh, the only
That's
thing
the only thing that supports your
the
argument.
only thing that supports your argument is an internal contradiction within Dino's worldview. That sounds base to me, man. The only people that don't understand logic, don't understand internal contradictions, don't understand hypotheticals are people with the abstract thought of a toddler. Quite frankly, that's the truth, Mr. Dino.
You quite
I had to
literally have
say it.
go to
I
a
had to say
very
it.
far out hypothetical to prove your point.
No, it's not a far out hypothetical. The point that we were demonstrating was that it's not a democratic election in the United States that indicates that there's a better candidate or
Then
a
what-
better
then what
policy.
does?
Can
Then
we
what
just
does?
can we just be honest?
And what does?
It was a
Their
far hypothetical.
like the policy supported by the particular candidate, the character of the particular candidates, right? Those are main things that you would take into account, the policy and the character of the
Okay.
candidate that you would support in order to be able to
So
identify them.
why did Trump win the election then? If that
Because
is the only
people,
thing that matters.
because people without good reason attributed inflation to the incumbent president.
Thank you, Brian.
The
That's the main
previous
reason.
incumbent president, correct?
Yeah, like the incumbent administration, which included Harris.
Okay. And my previous point was that she could not differentiate herself from that.
That's your point, but you don't base your point just based upon how society voted. You base your point on like what's relevant to Dino. Okay, so can you tell me what's relevant to Dino other than just like, oh, people
not how
in
you
society
say it.
voted for this, because that's clearly not a good reason.
Like the only claim that you can make here would be like that you think the Biden-Harris administration caused the inflation caused by the pandemic.
Yes, but the only point you can come to is that inflation caused that.
What?
The only point you can come to is
What?
that
No,
pandemic
what?
caused
That
that.
doesn't make any sense.
The pandemic caused that. The only point you can come to is that the pandemic caused that. You can't tell me that the policies failed them.
Wait, we're not going to say that the Biden-Harris administration policies did that if it didn't do that.
Yeah,
We're not going to lie to you. We're going to tell you what is the
lie?
likely reason that there was inflation. And
You
that was
can continue
that
to
happened globally.
backpedal
Dino, we're not backpedaling anywhere, right? That's literally why inflation happened globally.
Yeah, why would
Africa, Asia, South America,
lie?
Central America, Europe, everywhere around the world experienced this level of inflation.
Yeah, like when we tell you that the pandemic caused the inflation, we're just reiterating truth. Because that is true. That is a true claim.
The pandemic itself cannot cause the inflation. The policies passed to prevent the pandemic or make the pandemic lesser among the American
That was
people
such a ridiculous
caused
position. The
inflation.
reason why that was a no, hold up. The reason why that's a ridiculous position is because the reason why you would have had to implement the policy in the first place to counteract the response of the pandemic is because the pandemic exists.
I'd actually
So-
say that
so you
Dino's
enacted
Dino's like
false
50%.
policies.
Dino's
You
like
enacted
50%.
policies that did not work.
No,
Under
Dean,
my
let me
view-
give you an example to show you how he's not. Like the the imposing of vaccines, right? Are you saying because people die of the vaccines or get negatively impacted because of the vaccines, right, that's going to be like more people that were affected? No, you're going to acknowledge that was less than that would have happened through nature. Does that make sense?
Okay, but I'm also not going to force people to
that's
take
like
the
okay.
vaccine
Here's
if we're a
my
first
thoughts.
choice.
That's
Here's my
the point.
thoughts.
Go ahead.
It's not worth getting into. Not with Dino.
No, just I'm clarifying to the audience, right? So if you like in the same way that I was just mentioning, right? The pandemic, right, was naturally going to occur, right? So there's nothing that we did to cause that. We're only trying to respond to that. So anything caused by the policies that we're trying to do in response to that is a byproduct or something that we didn't want to happen as a byproduct of our necessary response. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Vaccines,
you are right.
necessary response to save people's lives.
Yeah. Therefore the pandemic still caused it. Okay.
But should you
Yeah,
be
it was
allowed
definitely the
to
pandemic.
force
Yeah,
those
smart
vaccines
man,
upon
smart
people
man,
that don't
smart
want
man.
to take
Don't
the
pivot.
vaccine?
Don't pivot.
It's not a pivot. It's the same.
It is a
the same-
pivot. It is a pivot because we're arguing that the pandemic caused inflation under Biden and Harris, and now you're
And
just
I'm-
gonna
and
start
I'm
forcing the
saying
vaccine
that
on
the
people. Forcing the vaccine on individuals has nothing to do with the claim that
I'm
the
arguing
pandemic
that the
caused,
policies that they
the
enacted
pandemic-
did not
the pan-
reduce the inflation, did not help the inflation.
Actually, it
Wait.
did. Go ahead.
Can I ask him a question? What policies did the Biden-Harris administration pass that caused inflation?
Social distancing is a policy they passed.
Social distancing didn't happen under Trump's administration.
No,
Trump was literally president when they started implementing that.
no,
Wait, if
No,
any-
wait. When did
No.
that happen? What year did that happen?
that happened 2021. Biden was already president.
No, it happened 2020 when Trump was in presidency.
No,
Yes,
it
yes,
did.
that's why we had the highest level of unemployment in the last 100 years in April of
No.
2020. Yes, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We had the highest level of unemployment in the last 100 years in April of 2020 at 14.8% because of social distancing policies and orders for people to stay at home. Yes, businesses shut down and people stayed at home and people became unemployed because of social distancing policies under Donald Trump's administration in 2020. If there was no social distancing policies in 2020, then why the hell was there a level of unemployment clocking in at 14.8% in April? Tell me why. Why did that exist?
why did that exist? Because people didn't want to go outside. The mandate was not imposed until 2020
People just didn't want to go outside. Why?
because the pandemic. It was
The
not
pandemic. And during the pandemic, I have a question. During the pandemic, did we do social distancing? Because I remember that I literally was not able to go to school because of social distancing in 2020. Because I graduated high school in 2020. So please tell me how, when I was engaging in social distancing in
make this shit up.
2020, literally when I was graduating from high school, how that was in 2021. Please tell me.
Parker, you can't make this shit up. On March 28th of 2020, the Trump White House extended a executive order requiring social distancing measures throughout the end of April in 2020.
You cannot make this shit up,
No.
dude.
Do
You
you-
can't make it up.
do you-
You can't make it up. Dino, please.
Do you want my source, Dino? It's the CDC Museum COVID-19 timeline on cdc.gov.
Okay.
So you're wrong.
Okay, I will take that. But I will also state that I still don't believe that the policies they enacted during the Biden and Harris administration,
What policy did the Biden-Harris administration pass that caused inflation?
it was the lack of policy.
Lack of policy? Really? So the lack of policy. So are you saying that we had to respond to the pandemic? Are you saying the pandemic caused it? Wow. You ran us right into the point I explained. Secondly, as it relates to this, what policy? Actually, so they didn't pass any policy which led to inflation. The inflation caused by the. I thought you said it was the policy that caused the inflation.
The policies that they enacted during that time were not
I
warranted.
thought you said they didn't have policies that they passed. I thought you said it was a lack of policies.
It was a lack of good policies. Let me reword that.
Okay, lack of good policies. So what bad policies or lack of what good policies?
Okay, what policies did they pass that you think were a good idea? That helped.
I like how he just like I like how he asks me a question
No,
instead of
because
answering mine.
if I don't know the policies
after
directly,
you answer
but you
Parker's
guys
question,
do.
after
You
answer,
guys do.
one moment, after you answer Parker's question, then I think we need to go into like more general conversation of what can a presidential administration do insofar as executive order policies to reduce inflation. Because like I'm thinking about it, like really like the only tool that could be used by an administration to reduce inflation would be a tool to either reduce supply of a good, or what? Like cause a recession? Like I think the only way that a president could reduce inflation is to cause a recession, and like 90% of that burden is going to fall on the Fed to adequately manage interest rates. Like the only policy that can be implemented to do, like maybe also like furthering supply of a good. Like I don't know, like dropping restrictions on trade, approving more like drilling permits. But they did all those things. So like, what should they have done that they didn't do to reduce inflation?
They did all those things.
Yeah. So which one policy that they should have done that they didn't do to reduce inflation? Tell me.
What policy should they have done?
That they didn't do to reduce inflation. Yeah. I honestly, Parker, we should have started with this one because he can't give.
I already asked him this question, by the way.
You did?
You asked me what policies they should enact. This is why I'm not a politician.
That they should have done that they didn't do.
But you guys are saying that the way that they went about it was good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the U.S. Underwent the quickest rebound from negative implications onset by the pandemic, such as negative GDP growth or inflation, compared to any other country in the G7 because of their policies, such as the infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Remit Mexico. Yo, Jesus Christ, I'm brain rotted. Etc. I mean, I think that they did great, and I think the fact that you were like dead silent when you responded to that question just shows that your belief that they didn't do enough to prevent inflation is nothing more than gibberish propaganda. They did it better than anyone else in the world. But apparently they didn't do enough, but you can't name what they should have done that they didn't. You're just a brain-rotted propagandist shill for the Republican Party. How does it feel to be
Cult
a
member.
robot? Like
You're
honestly,
literally just a robot cult member.
yeah. Like, you know that the RNC just looks at you like a good boy. Like
But I don't
seriously,
listen to
seriously,
everything
the
the RNC
RNC,
says.
Trump and MAGA, they look at you and they say, good
But I don't agree with everything
boy.
he does.
They look at you and they say, this is a really
You
good
know, if I were to
boy.
run, I'd run for the Republicans because they've got the dumbest group of voters, I tell you. Incredibly dumb. You've never seen them. They believe everything that's on Fox News, every single thing that they see, I promise you.
Yeah, you're just a
if I ran, I would win in numbers never seen before. Tremendous numbers, big numbers.
You can't make your own decisions. You trust Mr. Daddy Trump to make them for you.
But I do make my own decisions.
No. When you
This
build
argument means nothing
when
to
you
you.
build your beliefs, you scroll on Facebook for 5 minutes and look at.
I don't
what
have a
Donald Trump-
Facebook account.
And what
so
Donald
make
Trump,
that make
sorry,
sense.
Telegram. What Donald Trump
I don't
posted
have
on
a
Truth
Telegram
Social,
account.
and then you're like,
Make that-
okay.
Truth Social?
I don't have a true social.
Donna, let me just ask you this question. Where do you get your news from?
I get my news from anywhere that normal Gen Z get their news from.
I asked you a question. Where do you get your news from?
I mean,
do you want me to name websites?
Yes. Tell me where you get your news from.
I get my news from every major news source out there. Fox,
Like?
CNN,
Fox,
ABC.
CNN. You do not look at CNN or ABC. You just look at Fox. I knew it. I knew he was going to say Fox.
Of course I say Fox. It's one of the main newscasters. What else would I say?
What else do you say? AP News, Reuters, NPR, PBS? Like any actual reputable media source, not like Fox News, who literally in a defamation lawsuit for $780 million.
I feel like you grind on that one, but you don't say anything about CNN. The fact that I also watch CNN.
They didn't have a $780 million lawsuit, which they responded specifically by saying no reasonable person would believe this as a defense for their legal policy.
So you're saying no other news agency on the left has received a lawsuit?
Not that much. It was the biggest lawsuit of a media company.
Do you get your
news
news
in terms of definition?
Do you get your news from Gunther Eagleman and Cat Turd on Twitter?
Who's that?
You know exactly who Gunther Eagleman and Cat Turd are.
I don't, because I don't have a Twitter.
You get all your news from them.
But this is you implying you know things about me when you don't. Just based on a political debate.
No, I actually genuinely believe him. The only information he ever receives is from TikTok and literally Fox News.
I bet
I actually do believe that.
OM.
And OM, I guarantee he follows OM.
I watch CNN and ABC.
Well, I have a question. Do you follow older millennial?
No.
I'm surprised. I actually genuinely am surprised. There's no way.
I gotta. By the way, I gotta hop off here in like the next 5 minutes. Just thought I'd let you know.
What about Alex Jones?
No, never watched him.
Really?
No, not Joe Rogan either. I don't.
Newsmax?
No.
No. What the hell do you? Where do the people around you must watch that shit?
It's definitely the people around him.
No,
There's
because
no way.
my girlfriend is a far left liberal.
Dude, save her.
Get her on the mic right now.
Save
She does not want to be on the mic with you guys, though.
She doesn't exist.
She doesn't.
Let me guess.
What do you mean?
She goes to another school.
What do you mean? She probably watches us.
She lives in the apartment with me, actually.
She goes.
Okay, then get her on the phone.
She goes to another school, Parker.
Hey, babe, can you just say hello?
Wait, yeah.
Hi guys.
Wait, why are you with him?
How much do you hate your boyfriend on a scale of 1 to 10?
We have a lot of political debates.
I bet, but he holds some crazy views. We just try to talk to people every day, right? I talk to people.
It was actually
hours.
my idea for him to come on here. I begged him to come on.
I had a
here.
feeling. I was like, there's no way.
Can I be honest with you real quick?
Of course.
Your boyfriend is one of the most insufferable people that has ever been on my live.
You don't think I don't know that when we have political debates?
I mean, I think we're saying this like we genuinely mean it. I actually out of the people I've talked to, I think he's the least willing, one of the least willing people to change their minds and to believe something different because of the type of information that he's willing to accept.
You know what? I don't care. About what I'm about to say. I'm just gonna be honest, bro. Don't respond to this. Just keep it to yourself. Do whatever you want with this information. In fact,
Oh no, Dean.
I'd probably just say, like, don't respond at all. All right. The way your boyfriend has acted in this debate, all right, it's likely not just the way he debates Dean and Parker, but probably the way he carries himself in any disagreement, argument that could ever exist. And these character attributes only become more pronounced the older you grow, as you become more dogmatic the older you become. Compare the open-mindedness of a 70-year-old to a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old will be more open-minded 9.9 out of 10 times. So these behaviors, they will only grow more solidified the longer you two are together, and the worse conditions will become for you whenever there's any disagreement. Not even just referencing politics. I'm talking interpersonal discussions. Okay? And I mean that. I mean that very seriously. Keep it in mind.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to go back to Dino?
Yeah, we can talk to him. We can talk to him.
Thank you.
Okay, so what did that discussion prove? You said I'm going to
It didn't prove
be a
anything.
worse person
Wait,
later on.
Can I actually like I have a few questions I want to talk to you about.
Do you guys think I treat my girlfriend poorly? Is that it?
Likely.
We're just saying that like you're not probably going to be likely to take into account criticism from that degree because of the different types of beliefs that you've been propagandized into believing. That's not to say that I think that you can never change. I just think that like right now, the way that you view things is so bad for being able to like actually critically think. And that's really important towards interpersonal things. It's important for politics. I mean, the reason why he says that is because it's not just something that is applicable to politics.
Also, I'm gonna be the odd man out here. I may even get some shit from the chat on this. I also think it's possible that in the day-to-day life with you and your girlfriend, politics just never come up and you guys just live your life. Maybe you take her on dates and you do nice boyfriend things for her. And I don't know how long you guys have been together, but maybe there hasn't been opportunities that have created themselves for disagreement, even outside of politics. And maybe like you're perceived as a good boyfriend that does good boyfriend things. The point that I was making is that this changes over time. Disagreements happen. They are natural. In fact, when disagreements don't happen in a relationship, it's likely not a good one. Okay? But when those disagreements start happening, shit's gonna get rough.
Yeah, but you're
Not
saying
for
we don't
you.
have disagreements, and you think we don't have disagreements when we very much do, and we argue about politics very often.
I'm not even just talking about politics.
We argue about daily life
You could disagree with somebody on politics and be super stern-headed and then just kind of forget about it 20 minutes later. Especially like privileged people, right? Especially privileged people. But I'm not even really talking about politics. I'm talking about interpersonal disagreements. I'm talking about things that are like might happen a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't really want to say any more.
So we don't argue every day, but we definitely do argue sometimes. And I think we have a very civil discussion where neither of us yell and we both get our points across really easily.
Do you ever concede your points? Have you ever admitted you were wrong?
Of course. On many occasions, I concede that I'm wrong because we have a genuine discussion.
Can we go through that on that? I just want to prove that that's probably not true. Like
do you want to talk to her about it and then not me?
No, I'd rather talk to you about it because I
Okay,
think
go
that
ahead.
yeah, because I think that the issue is with you. It has nothing to do with her being held accountable for this. It has you being held accountable, particularly for the way that you act.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're just addressing like your beliefs and what you're willing to take into account in terms of actual information because of the different media sources that you see as valid. You don't see mainstream media like AP News, NPR, PBS, Reuters, or any of those to be valid sources. You see valid sources to be Donald Trump, right, and literally Republican Party sources.
No, because
otherwise
I
you
also
wouldn't
view my
believe the
girlfriend as a
insane
very
shit.
valid
Hold
source.
on. I just want to clarify. Then does she think that Donald Trump intentionally crashed the U.S. economy?
I don't know her view on it. No.
Okay, so
I say
I'm guessing she probably agrees with that position.
I don't know how I feel about like like advocating for explicit vocal disagreement between them for the sake of her.
But it wouldn't be a vote. It wouldn't be an argumentative. It would be a debate. It would be whose points are better, because that's how we hold our arguments. We don't yell at each other. We're normal adults.
I think all I'm saying
I'm
is
just saying if like you see them as a source, right, then you'll accept the information, right?
Sure, but you can debate the information as well.
Sure,
Just
of course,
just because
of course,
she's a
but like
source
I'm
does not mean she's
yeah,
getting
that's
all
the,
of the right
hey,
information.
hey, listen, this is what we're doing right now. Okay, well then let's clarify. What sources do you see to be valid?
Hmm?
What sources do you see to be valid?
I told you that my majority are CNN, Fox, and CBS.
Okay, so you accept that Trump lost the 2020 election.
Of course.
Okay. You accept that he was lying about the results of the 2020 election. You agree that he pardoned people who pled guilty and admitted to violently assaulting police officers on January 6th because they did his bidding, right?
Okay.
You agree with that? So would you vote for a candidate that like literally went up to a prison and opened the prison cells of people who have violently assaulted police officers for fun?
But that's going off the point that I believe that he incited a riot.
No, I'm not even referencing that. I'm referencing him. I'm referencing who he pardoned.
Okay.
I'm not even referencing anything else. I'm just referencing that Donald Trump pardoned people.
Both parties pardon people, though.
No, I'm talking not violent offenders.
That doesn't mean I agree with them.
Wait, I'm talking about violent offenders. Isn't the whole reason you want immigration laws to like prevent like violent crime from occurring? And if that's the whole reason, then why would you support a candidate that explicitly released, like, and intentionally violent criminals into the country?
Why would I agree with the pardons that Biden did either?
What pardon of a violent offender was there?
Oh my god.
I would have to literally look up the people that he pardoned. I don't know them off the top of my head.
None of them were violent offenders.
That's not true.
If none, okay, well then give me a single source that indicates otherwise. I'll put money on this.
I would
pardon a violent offender.
I would honestly love to have like talking points to actually go back onto a debate with you two, because I do genuinely think you guys have relatively good debates. You guys are headed and minded well, and I do respect the points that you guys say. Like, I'm listening to the points you say, regardless of if I'm going to change my opinion on those points that I have. You guys argue well, and I give that to you. And I would like to have like an actual debate where we both have a few topics where we can go into and we all have the specifics of that information. That would be like you arguing points that I don't know, like which people specifically he pardoned. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I would love to debate that argument.
Okay, well, but again, like you're making a claim that Biden did pardon violent offenders without any evidence, without any research.
Without
When I'm
knowing
telling you, I've done research, there is no evidence of such, and I'm giving you evidence that there is the case that Donald Trump intentionally pardoned people who pled guilty, admitted to violently assaulting police officers on January 6th. He pardoned those people. So are you okay with him just releasing violent criminals like that?
I think he pardoned those people due to how long they were incarcerated for.
Oh, okay, wait. You think that they weren't incarcerated long enough?
I don't think.
Wait. Now, you think they were incarcerated too long for violently beating police officers?
Did they get their trials?
2 years for trying to
Yes, they were convicted.
I'll give you a very specific example. There was this guy. His name was DJ Rodriguez. On January 6, 2021, DJ Rodriguez responded to posts by Donald Trump calling for a protest to fight at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. DJ Rodriguez then showed up to the protest to fight. All hell broke loose. Then DJ Rodriguez tried to kill a police officer. In fact, DJ Rodriguez was able to get that cop's stun gun from him, beat him up, get him on the ground, and then drive it into his neck. DJ Rodriguez was then later arrested for this crime. DJ Rodriguez then had the cop testify against him in court. Oh my God. And he pled guilty. From January 6th until the day he entered into jail, there was around 2 years. When Donald Trump pardoned him, he had been in jail for 2 years. At that point, Donald Trump referred to him as a victim of political prosecution and a true American patriot.
Okay, see,
And that is something I disagree with a lot.
okay, you're going. So now I actually have some information on the people that Joe Biden did pardon and the offenses that these people did in fact commit. So you can't tell me that they were all not felons. You cannot tell me that these people were all good people.
I asked which one was a violent offender.
Let's see. Violent offender?
Yeah.
Specifically violence.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so no other crime matters except violent, correct?
I didn't even say that. I just asked you if there was any violent.
Okay.
Is your answer to that question no?
There's a lot. He pardoned a lot of people. It was not a short list of people that he pardoned.
Okay. So
all of them.
yeah, and it seems like you can't mention a single one that was violent.
I'm seeing a lot of people that were imprisoned. I'm seeing
for non-violent drug crimes. Yeah.
So those drugs are okay? You shouldn't do the time for committing a crime?
No, those people that were pardoned for those offenses, yeah, they absolutely should have been pardoned. It should be legal federally. The fact that it's considered a Schedule 1 DRUG is unbelievable.
Okay.
It is absolutely unbelievable that in some states in this country, people are literally convicted of crimes for that. That's insane.
Oh, and then also, I do just want to clarify that a lot of these individuals were sentenced and imprisoned a long time ago, and the laws that they broke had much stricter sentences and punishments then than they do today. And it is unequivocally unfair to have somebody serving like 25 years in jail for like using or selling small portions of the MDRUG. And that is obvious. And it unequivocally does not compare to Donald Trump pardoning DJ Rodriguez. So to compare the two is nonsense.
It's allowed to be compared because they're both pardons. They're both presidential pardons.
Yeah, but I'm saying that one pardon should be a red line and is very obviously hypocritical when you also claim to be a member of the party of law and order. And then the other pardon is justified, makes sense, and not hypocritical with other party/candidate messaging.
I'm trying to look at what you guys would consider violent crimes.
Violent crimes?
No, I'm looking through the pardons right now.
Okay. Nat, thank you for the $20 super chat over on YouTube. Nat says their problem is a cult member will never admit that they are wrong. Because that would mean that everything they believe for their entire life has been a lie. And this would mean he voted for a Nazi.
Your guys' stance don't want to change either. You guys don't want to change your stance?
Yeah, I've changed my stance plenty of times. I've admitted that I was wrong.
What stance did you change?
Yeah, I grew up in... Yeah, I used to be a Trump supporter.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's a pretty fucking big one, isn't it?
Bro, dude, if you want to see the stances I've changed, like, they're so... like, I don't know, man. Just go look at my name on Twitter.
Okay. Then I agree. Then my stance is proven that I believe you guys are good debaters, and I hold that dearly to you guys. Like, you guys are debating your points, and I'm trying to debate mine, regardless of how much knowledge I have on the actual topic. You guys clearly have far more knowledge on your given stance, and that's fine.
I know you view it that way, but like when you view it that way, like it seems like what you're doing is you're using that as sort of a deflection to not fully critically analyze your position that way. We brought up real, like, legitimate critiques of your position, and it's like I feel like that's almost like an anti-intellectual response because it's like you don't want to address it right now.
The thing is, I want to have an intellectual response, but I don't have the points that you guys are bringing up to back it. So how can I have that intellectual response with you guys?
Well, then wouldn't you say that your prior points were wrong and that it is the case that you have best reason to believe what we just said?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
I am a bit over this conversation at this point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dino, any last words?
I mean, not necessarily. I think you guys are doing a good job with what you guys are doing, and I'm glad somebody is out there trying to debate the right wing, because we also do need to be tested on what we think is right versus what you guys think is right.
One last comment. This is for you. If you concede every single position you hold that we've debated you on, you'll be a better boyfriend.
But I don't think that's true because I don't think that has any merit in my relationship.
Keep it in mind. That's all I'm going to say. Keep it in mind. Have a good rest of your night.
Appreciate it.
All right. I guess one last like breakdown about that. Like, I think like the reason I was so like concerned about like the boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic there was because, you know, like every time we try to counter his belief with a point, well, we'd be like, but X, Y, Z, and then just kind of go into baseless, miscellaneous reasons why he was still right. And I mean, that gets applied in relationships all the times. Girlfriend has a problem with boyfriend. Boyfriend justifies his actions. Girlfriend's like, well, what the hell? This is obviously unjustifiable. Gives the reasons why. Then he just points towards some baseless shit. And I mean, like, you know, even like as my job, as like a political debater doing this for 4 hours a day, I am supposed to prove other people wrong with facts, reason, and logic. But like a consequence of that is like critically examining the issues to the best of my ability and trying to find a way why they're wrong and I'm right. And there's been like moments, even with my girlfriend, where she's had to say, Dean, you're doing the debate thing, snap out of it. And I had to like sit back and recognize, you're right, I'm sorry, and be conscious of that to have a happy, healthy relationship. So I feel like kind of taking that line of thought in like a drastically worse manner and applying that to a relationship, it just produces very bad outcomes. And I mean, I just know that from my own relationship. It's been such a critical and important part of my relationship when any disagreement pops up to be conscious of the debate mode. Anyways, Parker, if you want to go live.
Yeah, we're gonna get off.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off. It's over 9 here.
All right, but I will go on to this account live. So I hope you have a good night, bro.
Yeah, bro, you too. I appreciate you for joining up. It was a fun.
All right, it was fun.
Parker get a real job. Yeah, I'll send everybody over here in a minute. I'm just gonna thank my super chatters, and I'll send everyone over. For everybody watching, I'd like to thank Nat once again for the $20 super chat. Stay away United for the 5, N with a 5, Sarah with a 2, then also A with a $5 over on Venmo, and Enga, I do apologize if I mispronounced your name, with a $15 over on Venmo, and Dale with a $15. And then Danielle with a 5, Melody with a 3, and Randy with a 5. Appreciate everyone so much for the love. Then Taylor, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal. Yes with a $1. Nikki with a 10. And then Angel with a 2. And that is all. Thank you everybody so much for your support today. And everybody that's tuned in either on TikTok or YouTube, I love you all so much. It was a pretty good day once again. A late day, but a good day nonetheless. And one last thing before I head out here. Today, the reason why I was late is because I went to a protest. And I spoke at the protest. And I put a clip of it on my Instagram. If you'd like to listen to me speak, not on a live stream, but in front of a real crowd of real people in person at a protest today, go over to the Instagram. Check it out. People are loving it over there. I tried to post it on TikTok. It flopped. I don't know why. But people on Instagram are loving it. So head over there. At Dean Withers. You'll find it. But go raid Parker. At Parker Get a Real Job on TikTok. He's going to do debates probably for another couple hours. If you're on YouTube, at Parker Get a Job on YouTube. I love you all. And I hope that you have a good rest of your evening. See you tomorrow. Good night. For everyone on YouTube, you know I always say bye to you guys last. Hope that you all have a good rest of your evening. And goodbye.